So you see or hear about the narcissist's new supply, whether you want to or not. And surprise, surprise, they seem like your polar opposite. Not only that, they seem to be a bit of a downgrade. This sparks a lot of questions. Let's talk about why it seems like narcissists downgrade with their shiny new supply, more like dull news supply. Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jess. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about narcissistic abuse and get support for what you're going through, then start right now by hitting the subscribe button and ringing the bell so you don't miss anything. Number 1, the narcissist has downgraded by complete accident. This has happened normally if you were discarded by the narcissist. While you were being devalued, the narcissist looks around for new supply, which they find. And when they do, it's not too long after that where they feel like they can make the jump, quote unquote. It's extremely important to a narcissist to make sure that you're replaced with somebody who can provide, quote unquote, better, more supply than you can. And once they feel they have it, the jump is made. So you're discarded and then poof. However, in a lot of cases, especially if you were grade A or primary supply, this falls through. And the relationship with the new supply can fall through for many reasons. The new supply might catch on, smell the bullshit of the narcissist, and go ahead and dump them. That's fairly common. The new supply fades fast for whatever reason, and it's not too long before the narcissist is bored again and doesn't know what to do. I like to call it buyer's remorse. They thought it was so great and they chased it and they got it and then they were like, oh, what do I do with this now? It's basically what it comes down to. Oh shit, I made a mistake. So they certainly don't ever mean for this to happen. Number 2. The narcissist has downgraded because of a scramble. A scramble occurs normally when you've had enough of their rubbish and you go full no contact and you walk away. You see, the narcissist wants to be the one who discards because they don't discard until they feel like they are ready to. Like I just talked about, they feel like they have somewhere else good to jump to. So they don't just want you walking away whenever you feel like it, because then suddenly you've slit their throat, metaphorically speaking, and they have nothing. You can't go without a source of supply if you're a narcissist. This is especially devastating if, again, you were a primary source of supply for them. So they scramble. They rush around frantically, posting on social media, adding new friends all over the place. This might prompt them to hoover an ex of theirs. Whoever the first person is to bite on the hook is who they feed off of for a while. This, however, is a rebound supply. It's very unlikely that it will last long. This is just who they keep around while they seek out a new, better primary source. This keeps them going for a little while until they find that one that they're going to slot into the primary position of supply. Number 3, the narcissist has downgraded because they just need an ego boost. Again, this typically happens when you walk away, but in this instance, not only did you leave, you caused them a severe narc injury. A narc injury is essentially a blow to their ego. You've embarrassed them, you've taken something from them, or you've done something that has offended them. And there's a long list of things you can do that will, quote unquote, offend a narcissist. So don't worry about that. The list of what doesn't offend them is actually shorter. Anyway, tangent. So their already low self-esteem takes an even deeper nosedive. And damn it, they just want to feel better. So anyone will do. What they usually end up doing in this case is finding new supply in the form of somebody who is perhaps less attractive to them or less attractive than the people who they usually pull in. Maybe they make less money. Whoever it is, the new supply is a person who is going to feel grateful for the narcissist. A new supply who thinks, oh my God, I've met this person and they're so amazing and I'm so thrilled that you're with me. How did I get so lucky? This makes them cling to the narcissist because they think the narc is the best thing since sliced bread. And that gives the narcissist that awesome little ego boost that they needed so badly. So if you walked away, type I left the narc down in the comments. Number 4, the narcissist has downgraded purely just to add insult to your injury. And this can be done regardless of who walks away. Most of them can. Normally, they pick somebody who is clearly beneath you. The new supply is thrown in your face. The narcissist may even be so bold as to tell you that this obviously super lame person is better than you. This is done to lower your self-esteem. You think, wow, this obviously really crappy person is better than me, to the narcissist. And this can likely cause you to lash out at the narcissist and or the new supply. Whatever, it just stirs you up. It makes you upset. You might lash out, you might not, but it gives the narcissist a little bit more supply to know that they love having control, and they still have control over you and control over your emotions. And they like that. And it's just kind of that little fork in your side. They just like to give you that little jab here and there. What they're actually hoping for is that you reach out and you lash out, because like I always say, they love the good attention. They love the bad attention. Anytime they can prompt a fight with you, they're all over it. They're ready for it, and they love it. So this is very closely related to number 5, which is they've downgraded to work on a triangulated Hoover. They just pick the first person they come across, basically, who again bites on the hook and uses them to Hoover you. Normally, you're given a sob story when they do Hoover you about how wrong they were. They've made a mistake. This new person that they've picked has hurt them, and now they're wounded, and they need you back. Please forgive them. Oh, what a mistake they made. Please don't fall for any of that, because it's such crap. Know that if you see the narcissist brandishing their new conquest on social media or wherever, that it is done for a few reasons, but mostly it is just to get a rise out of you. I promise you that even after a discard, they are not done with you if you won't be done with them. I'm going to say that again. Even after the discard, they are not done with you if you won't be done with them. They will drag things out and play games with you as long as you let them do it. And this is not to really cause you a whole lot of harm. They don't really care whether or not they hurt you. They just want the supply. They want you to fight. They want you to argue. They want you to cry. It doesn't matter what you do. They just want you to do it. It gives them attention. It gives them supply. I cannot stress enough to block them on social media and keep them blocked. I also want to say that not every narcissist does jump to a new supply who is a downgrade, so to speak. But I do hear a lot that the new supply is so much different than the survivor who I'm speaking to. And this goes further into my theory that most narcissists don't have a type, so to speak. If you're in your 40s and they tell you that they like people in their 40s, the new supply is going to be 20. If you're blonde, they're a brunette, so on and so forth. And this goes a little bit deeper into my thoughts on narcissists and sexuality, but I'm not going to get into that here. I have a video coming on that very soon. So I hope that even though there's new supply, that you don't stress it. It's nothing to stress about. I talk about that at length on this channel. These people are nothing to stress about. It doesn't matter if they are your opposite. Remember, the narcissist is just using them for the same things that they used you for. Whether you walked away or you were discarded, this was unavoidable from day one. Narcissists are stuck in the cycle, the love bomb, the devalue, the discard, and the Hoover. They are doomed to repeat this. You more than likely weren't the first person to have a crappy relationship with this individual, and unless they were hit by a truck the day your relationship ended, you are not their last. And that is also very unfortunate, because now we have to go through life knowing that every person after us is going to be hurt, and possibly worse than we were. I know that the new supply is a very hot topic, like I just mentioned, when it comes to talking about narcissists. So if you want more information, then check out my playlist on the new supply right up there in the corner. and tell me why you think the narcissist in your life downgraded. Do you think that they didn't downgrade? Let's share and talk about it in the comments. There are links to a lot of videos and playlists down in my description as well. And if you just check out my main channel page, I've got a bunch of other playlists there too. Thanks so much to my patrons who are working with me in my efforts to help survivors full time. If you'd like to become a patron or just get in touch with me, there are links to do that in the description as well. Like and share if you haven't. Have a great day and take care of yourself. In this video, I'm going to spill all the tea on the narcissist's new supply. How long have they been around? Are they better supply than you were? Why does the narcissist seem to treat them better than they treated you? And more, because there's so much more. If you've ever wondered these things yourself, be sure to hit that like button and sit back because we're starting right now. Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jess. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about narcissistic abuse and how to become a strong survivor, start now by subscribing and ringing the bell so you don't miss anything. Quick reminder, if you'd like information about a one-on-one phone chat with me, shoot an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. And for early access to my content and exclusive content, make sure you click join and enlist in the Survivors Army. The narcissist's new supply is a hot button issue with survivors, especially right after a discard, but it's definitely a feeling and something you think about, and that can linger long into the recovery. The whole point of this video is to give you as much information as I possibly can to put your mind at ease about the new person or possibly people in the narcissist's life. So where to start? Right? Well, I find the beginning is generally the best place. So how long has the new supply been around? This is something that you're probably never going to find out, unfortunately. But here's the thing. The first time you see or hear about their new supply, they have already been in the picture and probably for quite some time. For that, survivor is the nature of the narcissist. This person was found, stalked, and groomed before being put up on the pedestal that you got knocked down off of. Narcissists do this nifty little thing called monkey branching where they're holding on to you but reaching out looking for something else. And when they grab a hold of something else, they make sure that it can support them, give them what they need and what they want. And once they're sure of this or think they're sure of this, only then do they let go of you. They never just let go of you without having somewhere else to go. And then they move forward. So this person was in the picture before you stepped out. 9 times out of 10, simple as that. But to actually pinpoint how long, there's really no way to find out. It's a whole lot of digging and a whole lot of detective work that, frankly, who wants to do that? Is the new supply better than you? This is one of the most commonly asked questions that survivors have when they're going through recovering from a relationship with a narcissist. I certainly had it, and my answer is always going to be the same. No, the new supply is not better than you. The new supply is something that you aren't. That's true, but the word isn't better. The word is right there in the title. It's new. The new supply is someone new for the narcissist to fool. The new supply is a shiny, new toy. Narcissists get bored very quickly. I say it all the time. They have the attention span of a moth, and they have to move on, amongst other reasons why they leave. It's all just rolled into one. Narcissists let their masks fall off, and we see who they are. We see what's going on underneath. They have to move on for that reason as well. And they have to find somebody new who doesn't know what game they're playing at. The new supply is naive to what the narcissist is doing, just as you were. They're going to get blinded by love bombing, sucked in, gaslighted, future faked, same as you. Always remember, just like me, you were new once too, and all of that happened to you. For these reasons, you shouldn't feel jealous of the new supply, but this is always easier said than done. I was certainly jealous. I'll always be transparent about my experience. I was extremely jealous. You might see the narcissist being all sweet and nice to the new supply, and this will cause jealousy. However, this is nothing more than the narcissist love bombing the new supply. This is why it looks like the narcissist is suddenly an amazing, wonderful new person. And it gives you that feeling of, They were shitty to me, so I must be shitty. And they're so great to this new person, they must be so much better than me. No, this is nothing more than love bombing. The narcissist is working right now, trying to hook this fresh meat as fast as they can. Don't envy this. Remember the cycle that they're doomed to repeat. Love bombing, devalue, and discard. Even though it's over for you because you've been discarded and you won't entertain a Hoover and it's done for you, they're going to go right back and do this over and over and over again. So they're right back to work. They've clocked back in. They're love bombing somebody new. So they're being that wonderful, amazing person who's fake, and you know it's fake. Don't envy this. It's not real. Fear can also spark jealousy when it comes to the new supply. A fear that this new person is so much better than you and can therefore make the narcissist into this perfect person, the person you were hoping and begging and crying and pleading for the narcissist to be. Yeah, this is not going to happen. Can't stress that enough. Please put your mind at ease about that. The narcissist has no intention of changing for you, nor the next person, nor anyone. This is who they are, and this is how they like things. Unless there's an awful lot of self-reflection on their end and industrial strength therapy, yeah, which neither of those are happening, the narcissist remains the same. The new supply is not the savior that you couldn't be. I know there's always a lot of guilt about that and wondering if somebody new is going to fix them. No, you have to be able to fix yourself. Nobody else is fixing us through our experience. Nobody else is going to fix them. They have to do it, and they don't want to. The new supply can't fix a damn thing as far as being a narcissist is concerned. Lastly, try not to be envious of the new supply. And I'll tell you why. I am not jealous, obviously, but I once was. Narcissists don't date lackluster, shitty people. Let's just put it out there. They don't. They date incredible people. They want good people, just like we do. So naturally, there are going to be good qualities about the new supply, even though we just wish they were garbage. They're not. Usually narcissists follow a pattern. They want somebody sweet, empathetic, with no boundaries, and somebody just like you, somebody just like me, someone new, unsuspecting to what's happening. And here's the thing now that everything has happened to you, and of course has happened to me, you know what the new supply is in for, and they have no clue. So think about that. Don't hate this person. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous that somebody else is in line for the roller coaster that you know makes you throw up, that you don't want to go on anyway. That's silly. You don't want it. Why are you mad that somebody else has it? Don't do that. Don't do that. Is the new supply just the absolute love of the narcissist's life? Let me go ahead and roll out and make this one quick. No, narcissists are not interested in love. I've said this 1,000 times. Narcissists want admiration, not love. I'm of the belief that they know what love is and they are capable of it. Again, this is my opinion, but they're afraid of it. So they stick to wanting to be adored, admired, and worshiped. Probably closer to that last one, but that's what they want. They're not interested in love. This new person is not going to be the love of their life because love isn't what they're after. Even if the narcissist marries the new supply, marrying does not equal love. This is a narcissist, or at the very least, somebody who ranks high on the spectrum of narcissism. They do not marry for love. I have a video on top 10 reasons why narcissists do get married, and I will link that for you down in the description. But I can tell you right now, love ain't on the list. If you're curious what is, check out the video though. These are transactional beings, and love ain't a thing. A really interesting topic that I did a video on a long time ago was, what does the narcissist tell the new supply about you? And you might be thinking, why would the narcissist tell the new supply anything about me? Well, of course, if it will work in the favor of the narcissist, they're going to do it. A narcissist will tell the new supply things about you like, you're crazy. This is used to discredit you just in case you find out about the new supply and try to reach out and warn them about who the narcissist is underneath and what they're up to. This also works to the advantage of the narcissist because the new supply feels that they're better than you and they get that little ego boost. It's a little love bomb power trip, and they will then lavish even more supply and all that kind of junk onto the narcissist. The new supply will also get told that you're jealous of the new supply. Again, the new supply feels super special, but this is super sneaky on behalf of the narcissist because this is a really awesome little triangulation tactic to pin the new and the old supply against each other, directly or indirectly, just by saying things like, just by mentioning old supply to the new supply, or vice versa. Why would you do either one of those things? Jealousy and triangulation are thrown around by narcissists whenever they can. The more jealousy they can spark, frankly, the more fun it is for them. Along those same lines, the new supply might be told that you want the narcissist back. It's also a thing. The narcissist will more than likely run a smear campaign and tell the new supply that you're a bad person. This will make the narcissist look like a hero or the victim, depending on how they want to play their game. And that it all varies from a narcissist to narcissist basis. This also makes the new supply think, wow, I am so awesome. Again, this goes into the love bombing and nothing more, making them think that they're so awesome and the narcissist is so enamored with them to get them hooked on the narcissist as fast as they possibly can. Inside that smear campaign will be tidbits like you've somehow betrayed them, which is pretty much all that projection. You're the liar, you're the cheater, you're the thief, you're the this, you're the that. The new supply is also usually told to stay away from you. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the you're crazy, which was just aforementioned. Typically, narcs don't want old supply and new supply to meet up and take notes, naturally. So all of this being said, it's important to mention, if I haven't made it obvious, that the new supply is not going to be treated better than you. We're treated, and, sometimes I get a bit of a pushback when I say this from survivors, that the new supply won't be treated better than you were treated. So I kind of want to talk about that for just a second. I'll hear something like, well, things have to be going better with the new supply because they were only with me for a year and they've been with this new person for 2 years and they're engaged and they're going to get married. So whoa, 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 whoa. Holy timeout, Batman. When in the fuck did time equal happiness? It doesn't. I promise. Always keep that in mind. When did the amount of time equal happiness? I know people who went to college for 4 years and loved every damn second of it. I went for a year and said, all aboard that nope train, I hate this, and never went back. Time doesn't equal a damn thing, except survivor. All time measures in this kind of a situation is how long somebody will tolerate abuse, how long somebody will let this go on. If you were with your narcissist for a year, okay, I was with mine for 18 months. I promise you, I wasn't fucking happy, okay? I don't quote unquote beat you. There's no winning. There's no losing. Time does not equal happiness. The amount of time that they're with somebody literally means nothing except that's how long this person is choosing to be abused. No more and no less. We don't get any better treatment than anybody else does. I don't care what you see on social media either, so I don't even want to hear that game because all of that is bullshit and it's all lies too. So don't even want to go there. I have a video about that anyway. The new supply will never be better, but will always be necessary. And it's something that, frankly, you shouldn't take personally. This is part of the narcissistic cycle, which I talked about earlier, that these individuals are doomed to repeat. Yes, you've been discarded. I'm not saying it's not traumatic or awful or terrible for you, but they're just going to go, this does not affect them. Okay, you were gone for a minute. maybe they're not having sex for a little while, or maybe they don't have somewhere to live or whatever, but they're just rolling forward with emotionally. This really doesn't do anything for them. They're right back to love bombing something else. This cycle that these individuals are doomed to repeat. It is nothing to envy. It's nothing to want. And if you find yourself feeling like this, then you probably need to go back and look at those 10 trauma bonding steps that I have a whole series on that I preach and teach, because there might be something that you're not working on there that you might need to revisit. Also remember that heartache heals faster than the ego bruise. We all have the ego bruise. It lingers, it sucks, they hurt, and like I say, they don't heal fast. And if this sounds like an area where you're having trouble, I can't suggest enough, on top of other things, finding your passion in life and boosting your self-esteem, because both of those things have to do with you. Trust me, you care very little about them when you are focused on what you are doing. If you're really worried about what's going on with them and their social media and the new supply, not enough focus is on you. There's a reason why in a car, the rear view mirror is so tiny and your windshield is so big. Where you are going is so much more important than where the fuck you've been. I promise. So speaking of that, tell me what your passion is down in the comments. Tell me what you love to do. And really important for those of us who need a self-esteem boost, share with other survivors down in the comments, what do you do to work on boosting your self-esteem? Did you ever worry about the new supply at all? Spill all of it with me down in the comments if you would like to. If you want more information about narcissists, be sure to check out my series, How to Spot a Narcissist. It is exclusively for channel members, so consider joining today. I have my new supply playlist on the screen if you want more videos like this one, which pretty much went over all the videos, but you can check it out for more information. Everything else is down in the description, my email, everything else you need. Please share and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. It's inevitable. Whether we walk away from a narcissist or we're discarded by one, they move on to their next victim, their new supply. Also, regardless of who ended things, this person was in the picture while you were still in it too. I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about what the new supply knows about you, because they all know something about each and every one of us, and we have the narcissist to thank for that. So what does the new supply know? Let's break it down. Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jess. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about narcissistic abuse, start now by subscribing and ring the notification bell. For early access to my 2 videos each week and access to my exclusive motivational pep talk for survivors, you can join the Survivors Army by clicking the link down in the description. I have weekly Q&A live streams that I do every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube that I happily invite you to join. Make sure you have the notification bell on so you get notified when I go live. If you want a one-on-one session with me, shoot an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. That's also down in the description for you. First, let's go into how the narcissist has new supply so damn fast. And again, the answer is because the new person was already at least somewhat in the picture before you were completely out. This has been dubbed monkey branching. I don't know by who. That's just what it is. The narcissist is hanging onto the branch, which is you. They reach out and grab onto a new one. They're kind of suspended there for a hot second between the two of you, making sure the new branch can support them. And once they have whatever evidence they need that the new branch is cool, they let go of you and swing forward. Now, naturally, if you walk away, they were already holding on to something because they always are. They're just going to move a little faster so their asses don't fall out of the tree. On the rare occasion that they don't have anything else to go to, you'll see a good old-fashioned narcissistic scramble, and they'll probably chase you and hoover you a lot if that happens. But remember, a hoover only comes your way when there's no one else for the narc to go to. But let's go back to them having their new supply. What does the new supply know? Number 1, the new supply knows that they are better than you. And they know this, of course, because this is what they're told by the narcissist. This is always done with new supply in the beginning and love bombing. They're compared to you, but they always come out on top, so says the narcissist. It builds them up. It makes them feel wonderful. It makes them feel special, as if they've won some kind of fucking prize at the clown carnival. I digress. What's funny and interesting here is as time goes on, this will actually be switched up on them more than likely, and they'll be triangulated with you. They'll be told you did certain things better, or you were better in certain ways, whatever. And they might become jealous of you as a part of their own devaluing. Proof this crazy ass cycle really never ends. Number 2, the new supply knows that you are crazy. Again, this is what they're told, and you're going to see a pattern like this as I go through this list, I promise. It's very common for a narcissist to smear an old flame to the new supply by saying the ex is crazy. This is seriously like piggyback gaslighting. They are told that you don't know what you're talking about. The new supply is told that you are not to be believed. They're usually told that you're a liar as well. And this is all to give the new supply a really low, really bad impression of you in case you do reach out to the new supply. And if you do, you're more than likely not going to be believed by the new supply because now the new supply thinks you're crazy. The narcissist has already laid the groundwork here for you not to be believed. Even if this isn't done, which it almost always is, several other things on the list make it so unlikely that the new supply would ever believe you. Even if you did reach out and they did think you were being truthful, they would still be in way too deep due to love bombing and brainwashing that they probably won't leave anyway. I always say there's no point in trying to reach out more in the new supply. Unfortunately, they have to sort all this out on their own. Don't bother. Go forward, worry about you and your recovery. Number 3, the new supply knows that they will fix the narcissist because you couldn't. Just like us, the new supply usually has that I have to save this person kind of thinking, and the narcissist has once again played the victim to this new person as well. They'll be told, what a failure you are. You didn't understand them, couldn't complete them, couldn't compare to them, keep up with them, keep them happy, whatever the case may be. The new supply is led to believe they have what it takes to make this person whole again. Blech. Yeah, right. Gross. Number 4, the new supply knows that you are jealous of a lot. The narcissist will surely drop at least one of the following things into the new supply's ear. You're jealous of the new supply. You're jealous of the narcissist. You're jealous of their lifestyle, their money, their friends, their new relationship, something. This once again paints you in a really bad light to the new supply, while also boosting them and making them think that the narcissist has chosen oh so wisely with them, and the narcissist is so happy because you are so petty and bitter and jealous. Number 5, the new supply knows that they will get things that you didn't. Sometimes a narcissist will let the new supply know that there were things that you just didn't fucking deserve. Typically marriage or kids or whatever they future faked you with, usually. But you didn't deserve them because you were bad to the narcissist. But the new supply will get all of these things because the narcissist knows how amazing the new supply is. This is essentially just recycle future faking. Again, you're going to see a lot of recycling as all this happens here. Number 6, the new supply knows you broke the narcissist. Boo-hoo, right? Cue those fucking violins. You broke the narcissist's heart. And this is something you might have heard in your relationship, something when you were the new supply that you might have heard. Somebody else broke their heart. Well, now you broke their heart and, they just don't know if they can get close. They don't know if they can get married. There's so much pain. They need someone to be gentle. They're broken. Blech. Again, I say, this goes right into number 7. The new supply knows you are why the narcissist acts this way, quote unquote. If they can't commit or won't stop cheating, any bad behavior that could possibly be blamed on you will be blamed on you. And the fact that you hurt them, except you didn't. And a lot of this is simply blame shifting and blaming somebody else for their shitty behavior or flat out projection. But you make an awesome scapegoat, as do many others. Number 8, the new supply knows you are nothing but a laundry list of grossness and bad habits. I love this one because I've told the story in other videos, but when I was hoovered, I got an earful from the narcissist about how shitty the girl was that he left me for. Lord can only imagine what he said about me to this other woman, but I was told this girl was a huge drug addict. Boy, whether she is or whether she isn't, I'm sure that she wouldn't fucking appreciate that being said about her. I was told she was a shitty cook. She couldn't keep, a clean house. Less damaging than the drug accusation, but still, from a man who burned soup and could not keep a clean house or do his own fucking laundry, that's pretty rude. But the point is, he really shit all over this girl, but only a few months ago, she was good enough to leave me for. And he really just had no issue at all, just, vomiting up all of this stuff to me. And, now, is it true? Who knows and who the fuck cares? But if I saw this being done, I know it gets done to others. And again, when he left me, this girl probably got told I was on drugs and I was a cheater and I was a liar and I was this and that. And good Lord, who knows? The smear is real, but they're always going to be told, whether it's true or not, by the way, every little shitty thing about you that they can think of. And don't think they won't do it during a Hoover, because again, mine happened during a Hoover and it's gross. Number 9, the new supply knows that you will try and get the narcissist back. I think I've well established the pattern of fuckery and bullshit here. This is again just used to make the new supply feel like they've won some kind of prize, until it's used against them in devaluing. And they're possibly threatened by you and triangulated with you and made to feel as if you're some kind of threat and they need to be worried about you and they need to overcompensate and give the narcissist more and more and more supply. Who knows? Maybe the narcissist will hoover you just to piss off the new supply and make them jealous and make them, again, like I was saying, spring into action and try harder. So let's go on ahead and take a breather and summarize all this here. What does the new supply know about you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing but lies, rumors, and stories mostly made up by the narcissist to serve them in whatever way they need it to at the time. I make these kinds of videos, and I've made similar videos to this one before, and I always get the who cares what they think or who cares what they know or don't know down in the comments. And I don't really care myself who says what down in the comments. That's cool. But I want to address, if you do feel this way, I want to explain why people do care about things like this. And it's because people are hurting. People want to know why they get dumped, why they get ghosted, why they get discarded, usually, much like myself, with no fucking warning anything is coming. People want answers. People want closure. They want to know what's going on. This is always exactly what's going on. It varies from narc to narc, but seeing as it happened to me, this shit is going on. Now, maybe you don't feel that way. Maybe you really don't care. And if not, cool. I'm glad you don't. But have some respect for other people. We're not all in the same places in our healing. Do I care about any of this stuff? I am past this part. So no, I don't care. But there are people looking for answers. There are people who do. And that's one amazing thing about this is we're all different people. And I know it's kind of a crazy thing to say that we're all different and that's amazing, but weird as it sounds, we are all different, but from this experience, we can all come together And the differences don't matter. We have something that connects all of us. And so this is my super sappy way of saying, be nice to other people in the comments. You can say that you don't care, and that's fine, but just make sure that you're nice to people who do care. If you don't, if you're not hurting anymore, I am over the moon for you because I'm not hurting and I don't care anymore either. But somebody might be in that obsessive-y phase that we all go through where we want to know everything. And we're not only here to learn, but remember that we should be here to also be supportive of other people. So listen, dude, just fucking pay it forward and be cool. All right. So like always, share with me your stories in the comments about the new supply. Be tasteful, be polite, be sweet. And of course, what did I miss? What else does the new supply, quote unquote, know and have an inside scoop on? That's probably bullshit too. Please like, share the video, and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps me out. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Despite the fact that we call it a final discard from the narcissist, normally this is still not the last time that we hear from them. But being hoovered aside, what I want to talk about in this video are reasons why you'll get a final discard from the narcissist in your life. Because let's face it, you won't get the truth from them, or even a real goodbye for that matter. I'll also tell you some signs to look for that your final discard might soon be on the way. Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jess. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about narcissistic abuse, start now by subscribing. If you have questions about your situation, then I invite you to join me on my weekly live streams every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, where I host question and answer sessions with survivors. If you'd like to talk about your situation privately, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com for my rates and to schedule an appointment for a one-on-one phone session with me. Now, these things I have to note are based on what happened to me personally right before I was given my final send-off. Remember, a lot of this is very generalized and varies on a narc by narc basis, but you're going to more than likely get some combination of these things, and these things are going to start happening. It's just classic narcissistic behavior. So, what are things going to look like near the end? Let's go over some signs that your discard is right around the corner. Number one, the small amount of communication that you're already fucking having at this point literally dwindles even further, as if that could actually be a thing. Texts are farther and farther apart. Phone calls are short, bland, boring, and typically they just stop altogether. Even time spent in their presence face to face pretty much comes to a complete halt. And with this further cut in communication with them, the details about their life and their goings on are going to become more secret, more private, and probably more outrageous. There was always some crazy excuse that I got towards the end on why we couldn't spend time together. Suddenly, this man who would spend hours on the phone with me told me he actually hated phone calls and hated being on the phone. Now, a small caveat side note here, when he hoovered me, those 2, 3, 4, 5-hour phone calls did not seem to magically bother him at all. I guess maybe he forgot he told me that. So, number two, as briefly mentioned in number one, you don't really see them a whole lot anymore. Suddenly, this man was so sick, I thought he was going to end up in a goddamn bubble. And this was always the reason we couldn't be together. He didn't feel good. Interesting, because when things were going, quote unquote, better in the relationship, and I use better pretty fucking loosely, when he legitimately did not feel well, he would want me to come and take care of him. But towards the end, when he wasn't feeling good, oh no, I got it, I'll be okay. You know, this, that, and the other. I mean, of course, you've got other shit going on. Number three, you get odd ass behavior from them and even weirder excuses. We couldn't spend my birthday together because he got arrested and went to jail magically went to jail Friday night, but got out at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and everything was fine again. Okay, listen, I'm not a member of the court system, but that's not how shit works. Okay. And then it was not, ironic that 6 days later I was sent packing. He needed to see that new supply on Friday night over being with me on my birthday. Assumption, yes, but it's a pretty fucking smart, accurate and correct assumption nonetheless. Weird ass illnesses that weren't real. One time he said he didn't have electricity. He didn't want to spend time with me because he didn't have electricity. I said something to him about, are you going Amish now? What the fuck is even happening? Who knows? Number 4, they snap at you a lot so that they can vanish. This is when you are fighting all the damn time. And this is done so they have a reason to say fuck you and disappear for hours and hours, days even, to groom the new supply that is very soon going to be slotted into your place. Now, those are just some signs. Again, it varies on a narc by narc basis, but through my research, I was dealing with a classic covert narcissist. More than likely, these things are some of what you will experience near the end. And the sad thing is, by this point, things are so shitty that, much like me, you probably won't even notice a decline in anything. I knew things were bad. I knew things sucked. Sure, but I still didn't know what was going to happen to me. I had no idea what I was dealing with. So let's talk about now some top reasons why you are going to get the final send-off, because honestly, them having new supply is not the only reason, especially if you aren't primary supply, which that can happen a lot. So number 1, they are fucking bored of you. Now, do not take this personally, what I'm saying. This happens with all narcissists. Attention span of a moth. I've said that 100 times if I've said it once. They constantly need chaos and uproar and things to be wild, exciting, storybook romancy, whirlwindy, dramatic, racy, tawdry, risque, and the like, because I can't think of any more words. And if they get bored of you too fast, they're just going to bail the fuck out. And in some cases, they won't even have a new source of primary. They probably still have their primary. They're just going to bounce to another secondary source. Again, especially if you are not the primary. Typically, they only leave their primary for one reason. We're going to get there. Number 2, you will not give them what they want. Most of us do end up trying to please the narc as much as we possibly can and hold on as long as possible, but some survivors, thank goodness, do not play that shit for very long. And as soon as a narcissist realizes that you are not going to play their game, you're not going to tolerate their bullshit, or you just have a low threshold for all this, and you're going to attempt to hold them to a standard over and over again, it's too much for them. They're not getting what they want, and they bail out. Again, this is more so done to a secondary and not a primary supply. If you're a primary supply and you continuously don't give them what they want, they'll bounce to their secondary, and you'll more than likely get a lot of ghosting, silent treatment, stuff like that. Narcissists' primary supply are very special to them. They never want to lose them. This is who they plan on abusing for the very, very, very long term. So again, we'll get to some more of that. Number 3, you will get a discard because you have inflicted a narc injury that they cannot recover from. The funny thing about a narc injury is narcissists are so easily offended by so much, so fucking often, that this might be done without you even knowing what you've done. You might just genuinely be teasing them about something super lightheartedly and not mean anything about anything. Or you might do something in public that shames them, which you don't even mean to do. Long story short, huge embarrassment is caused, humiliation, whether you mean to bruise that fragile little ego or not. Sometimes this hits them so hard, they just recoil, and they recoil so greatly, and they're so upset that they just drop you all the fuck together. A narc injury really is an amazing way to get a narc to fuck off for good if done correctly. And, again, if it's done well on your end, you might not even be hoovered. They might drop you and just never come back around. I narc injured when I got hoovered. Motherfucker ain't been back since. So, it works. It's a thing. Don't do it on purpose, though. It's petty. Number 4, you might get a final discard because you are too fucking smart. This is another one of those things like boredom that is on their end and is just going to happen over time. This is natural that you are going to wise up to what is going on. Again, I didn't know I was dealing with a full-blown fucking narcissist, but I still knew that this was some kind of crazy shit I had never dealt with before. It is impossible for them to hide their shit forever. And this is also true because narcs get pretty sloppy, especially towards the end, because you've already forgiven so much, you've already seen so much. So they pretty much do get sloppy and let the shit go over time. They're convinced they have you fooled anyway, and they're smarter than you. And even if they don't have you fooled or they don't care about fooling you, they are convinced you will continue to stay no matter what. So they don't really have to be very careful anymore. Nonetheless, you sort them out. And once you do, your goose is cooked, because once they know that you know, they'll normally be quick to shut things down. They have to. Once you know who and what they really are, they start to get a little nervous, because narcs have to be quote unquote right. They have to quote unquote win. So if they feel like you're going to bail out because you know they're shitty, they might go ahead and hurry up and discard you, because they have to be the one who, quote unquote, wins the breakup. So if you get too smart and you start knowing what's going on, they're probably going to bail out and find somebody who doesn't. Number 5, of course, there's new supply. This one isn't a secret. None of these are. It's in the nature of a narcissist to move on. There's nothing you can do to stop this from happening. At some point, the narcissist is going to leave, and leave for good, or bump you back into a secondary spot, hoover you relentlessly. But at some point, they're going to tire of things, boredom, number 1, and they move on. They always prefer something new and exciting, and they need so much more attention than you yourself would ever be able to give. This is just unavoidable. There's going to be somebody new. I don't care if you're secondary. I don't care if you're primary. If you think you're the only one, you're not the only one. This is just what happens. So tell me what I missed down in the comments. If you were discarded, tell me what happened. Did you get a reason for the discard? Were you ghosted without any fucking warning like I was? Spill all that tea with me in the comments like always. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. There are a lot of questions that survivors have when it comes to learning about narcissism and their own personal experience. Questions like, well, if it's over between us, who are they with now? Does this person have something I don't? The narcissist's new supply is something I think all of us have thought about at least once. In this video, that's exactly what I want to talk about, answering the most burning questions having to do with the narcissist and their new supply. Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jess. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about narcissistic abuse, start now by subscribing. I invite you to come join myself and lots of other survivors on my weekly live stream where I host Q&A sessions every Saturday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you'd like to talk privately about your personal experience, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to inquire about my rates and appointment times. If you'd like to support what I do here on the channel, please consider joining the Survivors Army. Doing so gives you early access to my videos as well as exclusive videos just for channel members. You can click join just below the video to do that, or there is a link for you down in the video description. Question number 1. Who the hell is the new supply anyway? Well, more than likely, it's somebody that you don't know. One of the worst things that can happen for a narcissist is to be exposed as what they really are. Therefore, they do generally like to choose new people who we don't know anything about. It makes things a lot easier for them. Whether the new supply knows you or doesn't, you will have a smear campaign run on you to this new person. The narcissist needs to convince the new supply that you're crazy, jealous, psychotic, needy, you were the liar, the cheater, the thief, so on and so forth. This makes the new supply discredit you, write you off as being a nutcase before they even talk to you, just in case they do know you or in case you do try to reach out to them. They're not going to believe anything that you say because they are very quickly ushered ushered in and brainwashed by the narcissist. Now, there are some narcissists who do choose people very close to their last victim. I personally believe this is far less common, but I have to say it because every time I don't, it seems to get pointed out to me in one way or another. So even though this is a generalized list, I'm going to say here, not all narcs are created equal. Ha! So there you go. Take some things that I say with a grain of salt. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And this is coming from a weirdo on the internet. Don't do it. Number 2. How long has this new supply been around anyway? It's really curious, isn't it? That mere weeks or even days later, you see somebody new on their social media, or you hear through friends or family there's some new fucking blooming romance. Well, that's because 9 times out of 10, this person is not as new as we think they are. They're not as new to the narc as they are to us and us knowing about them. They've been in the picture before we were discarded. Most of the time, not only was this person around, the only time they weren't is maybe if you suddenly ditch the narc and they don't have a full-blown source of new supply to hop over to. However, even if you do walk away with no warning and they don't have someone to jump to right away, they do still have a harem full of people. So they just suck one of those people in while they begin their hard target search for somebody new. There's always more than one person in the life of a narcissist romantically. Never for a second think that just because they weren't coming home later, not coming home at all, or whatever the case is, that there wasn't something more going on. Some narcissists hide things incredibly well, and sometimes they're not even having full-on, perhaps, sexual affairs. There are a lot of emotional affairs, just chatting with someone to get money, attention, ego boosts, and the like, or maybe just setting up a plan, figuring out what this person is like. Can they possibly be new supply? Would they be able to jump to this person? In this community, the act of hanging on to us while reaching out for new supply is called monkey branching. They never want to let go of us and move forward until they're sure that this new person and situationship that they've created can kind of hold some water and stand some ground a little bit. The new person just seems to come in so quickly because they've already been pre-screened by the narcissist as we were packing our shit and being told to get out. Number 3, why did the narcissist pick this person? They are nothing fucking like me. Well, this can happen for a number of reasons. So what I want to do here is I want to briefly mention a few little topics here that some people might find dark, disturbing, or triggering. This is not done to hurt anybody, nor is this done to purposely offend anybody. So I want to leave a warning here that for maybe the next 30 seconds or so, shit is going to get super real right here. So I haven't talked a lot about this for that reason, but lots of people in this community make comments about narcissists and sexuality. This sounds weird. I know. Stay with me. A lot of survivors think that narcissists struggle with bisexuality or possibly homosexuality. Now, I don't think that there's a struggle here at all. I think these folks will take attention from anybody. It does not matter if it is male or female. Just like rape really doesn't have a whole lot to do with sex. Rape is about power, control, feeling superior. They're going to overpower somebody, getting that ego boost, things like that. With that kind of information and knowledge, I believe that the connection can be made, that it's all about who gives the narcissist what they want, and it has little to do on who the person really is, what they do, what they look like. It's can they give me what I want, and how fast can I get it? For example, you see the narcissist on social media with the new supply, and let's say they're a brunette, but you're a blonde. The narcissist really couldn't fucking care less because maybe this person has money or a place for them to live, or maybe this person has wooed the narcissist and taken them on trips and shown them some kind of lavish lifestyle, or you see or hear through the grapevine that the new person is heavier than you or thinner than you. Again, this doesn't really matter. It's who is providing attention, the ego boost, the praise, the whatever it is that they're looking for. Maybe you have money and the new person seems, okay, I'm trying not to be mean here, but like they're broke as fuck, okay? So money must not be their main goal right now, or they have somebody else, another form of supply who is taking care of them financially. Again, remember what I say in so many videos, they have different sources going on with people who give them different things. True, the primary supply does typically take care of them financially, but they're really not super sexually motivated by the primary supply. Doesn't mean they won't have sex with you. They're just having sex with like a lot of other people too. So that's something to really keep in mind. And another thing to keep in mind is this might also be what's called a downgrade. It means the narcissist can't find good supply right now. So this person has been settled on because something's better than nothing. This is usually what happens when you walk away and you just kind of leave them in the dust and they're like, oh, what the fuck? They have to scramble and then they get a downgrade. Something not as good is what they're really looking for, but it's like, oh, well, this is like the appetizer before the main course. I know it's terrible to talk about people like that, but we have to talk about it the way that they think about it. Kind of helps us go, oh, that's gross. I don't like that. And we'll stay away from these people. I believe we all have a quote unquote type of person that we're attracted to. Tall people, short people, blonde people, brunette, whatever. And I used to believe that narcissists didn't have a type, but I now kind of think of it more as, they do have a type, but that can be completely overruled if they meet somebody with that criteria that they're looking for. Really terrible, piss poor example here, but let's say that they, it's a female narc and she only likes, blonde haired dudes, but she meets a guy who's a brunette or, foxy redhead. And she's kind of like, nah, but she's money motivated and the dude has a lot of money. She's going to throw that, well, he's not blonde thing right out the window because he has money. So I believe that they all have a type. I believe we all have preferences, but they can get overruled because of the narcissist's selfishness and greed, essentially. Keep in mind, this new person and why they were chosen, honestly, it really matters just so very little. We have to focus on ourselves and getting healed so that we can make better selections in the future. Number 4, the narcissist has been with this new person, this new supply, longer than they were with me. So holy fuck, I guess I was the problem, right? So this is where I have to answer a question with a question, and I need an answer here. So I'm going to get a little inquisitive. When in the hell did time equal happiness? I know I've said this before. I was in my living hell for 18 months. If he finds somebody new and he's with her for 2 years, what the fuck does that even mean? Who cares? Is he happier with that person? No, this person's just putting up with more bullshit. Is he treating that person better? No, I know who he is. I know what kind of person he is. The person is probably more brainwashed than we were. The person might be giving the narcissist a place to live. So maybe the narcissist is trying to hang on longer. And here's the really, really super important part. Let's say they do move on and they find new supply and they get married and pop out babies. And it really is this fucked up, twisted, happily ever after for them. Cool. It's not you. That new person is not you. The narcissist that you were dealing with in your life was shitty to you, and you did nothing to deserve it. All of a sudden, some magical person is going to come along. Why do narcissists leave in the first place? Because we figure out too much. They get bored, they're tired of it, and they peace out. All of a sudden, this new person, they've gone through so many people to get to you, but all of a sudden this is going to change now for this new person? No, absolutely not. And time does not measure happiness. Along the same lines, like I was saying, we seem to think if they get married that this is some kind of a thing. I have to debunk this. Narcissists marry who they think they have to marry. They marry for money or looks, or because society seems to think that they should be married. Maybe they're in their 30s and it's like, holy shit, this is looking kind of weird now because I'm not married. They want a long-term, person to abuse, because once you get married, it's harder to kind of break up that kind of a relationship. They don't marry for love or commitment or happiness, or marriage means nothing to them. Honestly, none of this means anything. It is stuff that we focus on way too hard when we're trying to look for answers after things are all said and done. Like with everything else in their lives, they do what they have to do to keep themselves afloat and get as much from people as they possibly can. Number 5, is this relationship the narcissist is in with this new person gonna last? Again, it doesn't matter. They can marry new supply and be around for 20 years. My mom was married to my dad, a full-blown dickhead narcissist, for 18 years. So what? She got cheated on relentlessly. Smear campaigns were run on her and myself when I was just a teenager. I was severely emotionally abused to fuck and back. So what does it matter if they're together for 20 years? Who cares? That is That's stuff, that we don't have to, don't envy that. Don't envy time with a shitty person. No, that's not the correct way to think about this. Number 6, why am I so obsessed with this new person in the narcissist's life? A lot of survivors obsess over this, literally why I'm making this video. So don't feel alone. I did the same thing too. So definitely don't feel alone. It's really easy to look at the new person and say, oh, well, this person must have things that I don't have. We pull ourselves apart, compare and contrast, take our own inventory, get really down and negative on ourselves, and we do these really unhealthy things. Most of us, like 99.999%, have no closure after the relationship ends with somebody toxic. Even if we're the ones who walk away, it doesn't matter. We are still looking for answers because we're in a state of, wow, what the fuck just happened? We obsess over what we don't have answers to, regardless of what it is. But with enough research into this disorder, though, I think that is where we find a lot of our answers. Sometimes we also need to sit down and talk to ourselves and have one of those super fucking uncomfortable one-on-ones. We're smart. We know the truth. We know there was lying. We know there was infidelity. We know there was a lack of love. We know there was a lack of feelings, intimacy, vulnerability, truth, devotion. We know this person has done us a favor by leaving and moving on, or we've done ourselves that solid and we've gotten the fuck out of there. I truly believe we obsess when we won't accept. I find myself clinging to research, looking for answers, and spending hours in therapy talking about things I already have the answer to, and I just refuse to accept it for what it is. I keep needing to rehash it and beat the dead horse, looking for proof of A, B, C, proof of X, Y, Z. I already have the answer. I refuse to accept what it is. And it is anything but easy, but incredibly necessary. We know the truth, and it's time we accept it for what it is. Now, I'm sure I didn't hit every burning question as far as the new supply goes, but I have a whole playlist on my channel dedicated to talking about the new supply. So check that out. I'll toss it at the end of the video. If I remember, down in the description. I probably won't remember, but very hot topic. I do revisit this from time to time, so expect more videos on the way every now and then that talk about it. But I, again, have lots of other videos in the playlist. I believe it's just called The New Supply. You can check that out. Please throw a like on the video. It is quick and painless on your end and really helps me out. Please share the video or hell, any of my content if you think somebody might find it useful. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't for more information on narcissistic abuse and recovery every single week. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. You're nice, kind, understanding. You try and help people. You're someone who wants to make people happy. You're faithful, loyal, and trustworthy. You will protect anyone who needs it and fight to stop injustice. You work hard, you love hard, and while you're not perfect, you know that nobody is, but you still believe yourself to be a stand-up guy or girl. So then, why? Why were you treated this way? Why were you treated like a thing that didn't matter? And then you were just thrown away like it's garbage day. In this video, I want to talk about the top reasons why we get discarded, the most common times it will happen to you, and why narcissists throw away amazing, incredible people. Hi there and welcome back. My name is Jess. If this is your first time here and you want to learn about narcissistic abuse, start now by subscribing. Come join my weekly live stream every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where I answer questions and host a chat for fellow survivors. If you would like to share your experience privately or get private coaching from me, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to get information, rates, and set up an appointment. To support what I do here on YouTube, you can become a channel member. This is a monthly form of support, and if you are awesome enough to do so, you get exclusive content only offered to channel members, as well as getting recognized with so many others in my video intros. You can click join just below the video, or if you don't see that, there is a link in the description for you, as well as links to my merch, my social media, other playlists, channels, and videos if you want more information on narcissism. Let's get into why we are discarded. Number one, you inflict the narc injury. The narc injury is a term in this community that we use to basically say you caused an ego bruise to the narcissist. You've done something to hurt those little feelings, but it's deeper than that. You've either exposed the narcissist for what or who they truly are. You've dumped the narcissist, humiliated them, embarrassed them, or done something to publicly look bad, even privately look bad. That can also do it. And they get so upset that they recoil, move on, dump you, and get new supply. Number two, you try to leave. Once you attempt to break up with a narcissist, they know pretty much for sure that you're as unhappy as you're going to get. You're unwilling to put up with much more bullshit, and this makes them very nervous. They know you're on your way out. You're at the end of your rope. You've had enough, and here you are now trying to end the relationship. Therefore, it is extremely common that if you try to dump them, they'll actually beg you, cry, scream, whatever they have to do. They'll talk you into giving it one more shot. And then if you give in to that, they will actually immediately discard you because they go and they find new supply so that they're right, so that they win. I always say, never let a narcissist know that you're leaving them, because if you do, it puts all your cards on the table. You know, they pull you in, they're going to find someone new on the side and then completely discard you so that they're correct, so that they're right, so that they win, they have the upper hand. You know, just leave silently as you can, and just disappear like a ninja into the night and don't look back. So if you try to leave, that might ultimately end up in you actually getting discarded. Number three, you won't do what they want you to do. Always remember when dealing with a narcissist that it has nothing to do with who you are as a person. It has everything to do with what you do for them, nothing more and nothing less. Therefore, when you start doing things like saying no, demanding they do something for you, you stand firm on your standards or boundaries, hell, all of the above, you get put, and very quickly, might I add, on the narcissist's shit list. You are swiftly deemed useless to the narcissist, and your replacement is quickly slotted into place. I know this and can speak on that a great deal because it happened to me. If you stop being the doormat, if you won't give in to the tantrums or whatever they're trying to pull you into, your time is up. Your goose is cooked. Number four, you give an ultimatum. This is never a good scenario in anything in life. If you feel the need to give somebody an ultimatum, then you just need to leave. However, you know, if you have already done this, know that the narcissist can see this as a challenge and it might not go well for you. Don't do this to a narcissist, because even if they quote unquote choose you, nothing is going to change. Even if they swear things will be different this time, they won't be. Don't threaten. Don't do anything like that. Otherwise, you know, they see this quite similarly to the breakup thing. They know that you're on your way out, you're fed up, and they might just go on ahead and discard you. Never give anybody an ultimatum anyway. If that's the point that you're reaching with somebody, it's time to just let whatever it is go. Just a word of advice. Never give anybody an ultimatum. Spiteful ass narcissists are going to not choose you clearly out of spite. So, number five, the most obvious, you're going to get discarded because there's new supply. Once they have somebody new, your time is done. This is the nature of the narcissist. Someone shiny and new will always come along, and even if they don't flat out dump you, they'll check out in every other way, and they might as well just go on ahead and dump you. So with all of those being said, the most likely reasons why you're going to be discarded, let's go over some things that might actually cause a discard that I don't think a lot of people realize or pay attention to. Frankly, I just find this fascinating, so I'm just throwing this part in here. So here's some things you might not think about. And if you think about your own situation, it might make sense as to why you were discarded if it happened to you. Number one, you get sick. If all you have is the flu, you might just get some ghosting so that the narcissist doesn't have to take care of you and nurse you back to health. But if you find yourself in the unfortunate place of having to deal with a serious long-term illness, when the narcissist might have to do things like work, care for you, do something they're not interested in doing, do something that has no benefit for them, you might actually find yourself suddenly getting discarded because they're not going to deal with somebody who has a long-term illness for the most part. Number two, someone dies. When someone close to you dies, a lot happens for the narcissist. See, you're going to be distraught. You're going to need their help, possibly be busy planning a funeral and other things are happening. This is a long list of shit the narcissist does not want to deal with, as they basically see no benefit in it for them. Plus, they don't want to deal with you being upset for weeks, months, or possibly longer than that. Don't be surprised if a discard happens when someone you love passes, unfortunately. Number 3, you lose your job. Uh-oh, you mean you won't be paying their bills anymore? They might have to use their own money if they fucking have any, which most of them don't. They might have to use their own money to pay bills. Their lifestyle might change. Nope. Trust me when I say, and this is something I say a lot, when the going gets tough, the narcissist gets going. If you lose your job for whatever reason, some narcissists are not going to hang around for that. Number 4, you get pregnant. It's not uncommon at all that a narcissist will tell you they want to have a family with you. And once that happens, they either get bored or have second thoughts or find someone quote unquote better, whatever the case may be. And poof, they're gone without a trace. They might also decide they're going to pop back around maybe after the birth of the child to just be a complete pain in the ass and suddenly decide that they want to be quote unquote involved. So those are some things that I don't think a whole lot of people really think about when they think about a discard. It's like, oh, well, they just found somebody else, or, you hurt their fucking feelings and they got butthurt, so they left. So there's other things there that are really devastating. You're sick, someone passes away. Basically, think about it as when you're low and you can't give them all your time and attention, there's always the possibility that they might leave you. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is why. Why do they throw away incredibly amazing people? And there's a number of reasons I could list here. Like, well, you're just a number. They get bored easily. A lot of shit I've already discussed in this video that I don't want to just beat like a dead horse. So I'm just going to tell you what it all really boils down to, because it's just one thing here. So here it is. Here is why they throw away amazing people. If you were waiting for it, don't be on the edge of your seat. It's not really that huge. Here it is. This is a disorder. This is what they're always going to do. I relate narcissism a lot to OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And people who suffer from OCD, they probably don't want to fucking wash their hands 50 times a day, but their brain tells them that's what they're going to do, and they don't feel correct until they do it. Having bipolar disorder, there are some things that my brain tells me to do that I go, no, I don't really want to fucking do that. But I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel quote unquote correct, which is something I can't explain, but I just have to do it. I just have to wash my dishes at 3 o'clock in the morning or do some weird things that my bipolar causes me to do. And I don't feel okay until I do it. That doesn't happen too much anymore, but it used to. Nonetheless, I'm not here to debate whether this is done deliberately or not, whether their actions and things they do are done maliciously or not. Truthfully, that doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't matter whether they mean to or they don't. The bottom line is they're going to. This is what they have learned to do. I'm not going to talk about genetics, learned behavior, trauma. This is how they choose to end things. This is how they choose to do things. It is not personal. It has nothing to do with you. It has so little to do with you. It's really not even fucking funny. This is somebody with trauma who doesn't handle it well. This is somebody with possible untreated mental disorders, possible other personality disorders. Really, this is par for the course. This is business. I hate to say it like that, but they have to move on to the next person. There was somebody before you, probably a lot of someone's, as I've said before. There are going to be many after you. This is the vicious circle and how it's always going to be. And that's it. That's why they throw away amazing people, because they're going to, because this is a disorder. They don't see us as perfect anymore. Basically, everything I've already talked about. They're bored and they want something else and whatever, but that all boils down to the disorder. And it's not personal. Pretty much it's business. So if you have any thoughts, please leave them down in the comments below. If you have any positive messages for other survivors, I hope you will leave those as well. Please like the video, really helps me out. Share the video, also helps me out, as well as possibly other survivors. And subscribe if you haven't for more videos on narcissism and recovery every week. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. In this video, I'm going to tell you why a narcissist will stay in some relationships longer than they stay in others, and we're starting right now. So, why is the narcissist still with their new supply? Or in some situations, why was the narcissist maybe with their old flame longer than they were with you? It seems kind of odd that a narcissist will date somebody for 3 months and then the next person they're with for 3 years. It's like, wow, how in the world can you hold something together for years? And then with somebody else, you can't hold it together longer than 3 months. This naturally makes us believe, well, if they were able to leave us and find somebody new or revert back to somebody old, and they're with this person longer, then we were obviously the issue, right? We were the problem because look, they can hold on in a relationship for years, but they couldn't do that with us. Or maybe they could do it with us, but not with somebody else. There's no real rhyme or reason here. But let's talk about maybe why there is. Number one, the new supply is still around because this person has passed the tests, so to speak, that the narcissist has laid out. We are all tested by a narcissist. I do have a video on it. I will link it down in the description for you. It talks about the tests that narcissists administer to us, but nonetheless, we are put through a series of exams and tests when we meet a narcissist, and it gauges what kind of supply we will be for them. It's a very good way for them to feel us out and where will we fit into their dynamic. This relationship is probably lasting a long time because the narcissist has chosen somebody who, again, they've passed all those tests. They're not going to put up much of a fight with the narcissist. They take the abuse with gentle good humor. They go along with the flow. They go with the program, however you want to say it. This person is more than likely an overly empathic, codependent person who has been built up by the narcissist, brainwashed, gaslighted, etc., just like the rest of us. Again, check the video down in the description for more information and more detail about what kinds of tests that narcissists and predators run when they first meet new people to see how well we fit into things, down in the description. Number two, the new relationship is still a thing and still apparently going strong because the new supply flat out doesn't know what they're dealing with yet. Now, I know the first thing you're going to say is, Jess, how in the hell do they not know what is going on after all of these years? How can the new supply or not so new supply, if it's been going on for a few years, how do they not know? Well, I'm here to tell you I dated a covert narcissist for 18 months and I had no idea the whole time. And I'm not the only one who's been in a relationship for months or years and had no idea what I was going up against. So we're going to go over some reasons that I feel the new supply might not know exactly what's going on. They might not know what they're dealing with. So first, if you've never been with a full-blown narcissist or somebody who at least has moderate or high tendencies on the spectrum of narcissism, you know something is wrong, but you don't know exactly what is wrong. That's kind of how I felt. I knew something was wrong. I was uncomfortable. Something was off. And in the past, I just never had an issue dumping somebody who didn't work for me and moving on. But in this situation, I couldn't. I stayed and got abused until I was discarded. This was all incredibly new to me. I had no idea what I was dealing with or what had been done to me. And so if we don't know, as I didn't know, the new supply might not understand either. Secondly, there are a lot of cases where it actually takes years to know what's going on with somebody narcissistic because you're probably in a long distance relationship with a narcissist, or you're with a narcissist who works a lot, travels a lot, seems to be very busy all the time. It takes longer to know somebody when they're just frankly not around as much. It makes perfect sense. It takes longer to know somebody who travels constantly, or if they're a couple of states away or, across an ocean, something like that. They're not around much, which is really how narcissists like it most of the time. All we really know about people in these situations is what they tell us and what they allow us to see. Perhaps we only see them for small windows of time. And typically when that happens, they're usually on their best behavior. There's no time for fights. There's no time for anything. Getting to know them, nothing. And it takes longer to sort out what's happening. When somebody is gone longer than the time that they're with you, it will take years to sort all of it out. And therefore, it takes longer for you to realize, oh, I think I'm with somebody like this. If you want to talk about a narcissistic relationship that you're in now or that you have been in the past, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats and coaching appointments if you would like to do that. Number 3. The new supply probably meets certain criteria. There's just some certain things that narcissists are looking for that a new supply has to have. And it can range and run the gambit from the super shallow things like physical preference. Maybe they only want to be with blondes or brunettes. Maybe they only want men or women of a certain height, weight, ethnicity, etc., whatever the case may be. The narcissist might want somebody who lives a certain lifestyle. They might want somebody who does the drinking, the drugs, the partying. On the contrary, they might want somebody very successful, very career-driven, making a lot of money. You can see the way they would enjoy both of those. And the list can really get endless, but also be really specific. But now I know you'll say, well, won't a narcissist just settle for anyone? A lot of times the new people seem like a downgrade, just kind of seems like they scrambled and picked anybody. Yes, they will pick anybody, absolutely anybody out of desperation. But if they come across somebody who ticks off a lot of boxes and has a lot of things that they really like, the narcissist will actually stay in the relationship longer, and they will put up with slightly more bullshit from the new supplier, from this new person, than they normally would, because this person just kind of seems to have something. Perhaps this person will do certain things sexually to please the narcissist, or they make a certain amount of money. They have a nice house. They have a nice car they allow the narc to drive. There's something. They have something the narcissist really, really wants, and the narcissist will stay longer, and it just benefits them. Obviously, they stay longer where they're getting the majority of their needs met. Number 4, they've drained you. You're deemed worthless. You're dried up. And this just hasn't happened with the new supply yet. There's no non-sucky way to say this. The new person just hasn't had their fucking soul completely sucked out yet, like I have, like you probably have. Plain and simple. Trust me, it will happen. It just hasn't happened yet. We all have different breaking points. And one of the narcissist's main goals is to find somebody who will endlessly for the rest of time put up with the abuse. So for a relationship to last years is sometimes nothing to a narcissist. They want it to go on and on and on forever. So this is where I have to talk about the cliche, it's not you part of all of this, that this isn't about you, that you've done nothing wrong, you don't deserve this. And well, you don't frankly deserve it. Obviously, I'm not here to tell you otherwise. And you haven't done anything wrong. So you're probably feeling rejected nonetheless. You've been discarded or you've walked away, and they've very quickly moved on to something else. Regardless of how the relationship falls to pieces, you still feel rejected by how quickly they can move on with somebody else. But I'm here to tell you again, you've done nothing wrong, but you have done something, more than likely. You saw them for who and what they really are. You asked questions. You challenged them. You attempted to put up boundaries and have standards. You demanded that there be change, that the relationship progress. Or if those things didn't happen, you were maybe going to leave. You stopped doing what they wanted you to do. You stopped bending and conforming to their will. You've done one, many, or some combination of something like this. And when these things happen, they leave, period. When they have the full-blown disorder, you're telling them they have to change and be different. They're not looking to do that, so they leave. Trust me, even for the very, very, very few survivors in the world who literally did none of these things, there are a whole other slew of reasons why they will leave that really have nothing to do with you. They get bored, they're never satiated, they need more than one person. So what I want to talk about here is this is not rejection, like I just said a second ago. This is not a rejection of you. This is not your fault. Remember, something can only be your fault if you seriously didn't give it your all, if you didn't give it your best, if you didn't try to be open and honest with this person, if you didn't try to love this person, even in the darkest of times, if you didn't try to work on things, then you maybe might have actually had something to do with it. Then you maybe might not be good enough, but I promise you, that is not it. Don't be sad that you're not good enough for an abuser. I said this in a video I made a long time ago, and I will say it again now. I have never been so happy that I am not enough, quote unquote, or not good enough for that man. Thank you, sir, so much, because now I can go and be an incredible person for somebody else who appreciates all that I have to offer, and so can you. My last point here. Time never equals happiness. Never. The length of time you're with someone or the length of time they're with somebody fucking else doesn't equal happiness. My mother was with my narcissistic father for 18 years. I saw firsthand that it was not rainbows, roses, and unicorns. Time does not equal happiness. Length of time doesn't mean things are going well. Photos on social media doesn't mean life is great. It doesn't mean anything. Live in reality, survivor, because the truth is, you know the truth about this person. If you have more questions on the new supply, I am going to leave my entire new supply playlist on the screen for you. Lots of good videos there. Other helpful videos will be down in the description for you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. In this video, I'm going to tell you why the narcissist is keeping their new supply very hidden, and we're starting right now. So when I say hidden or hush-hush on the down low, what I mean is this new person doesn't have a very big presence on the narcissist's social media. So I just want to lay the groundwork for what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Remember, we kind of have to think the way a narcissist thinks, but it's super gross, so let's not linger here for too long. But everything a narcissist does in real life or social media is done in a very calculated way. Narcissists will do only what they think will yield them the best, responses, reactions, however you want to say it, from other people. And that being said, reason number one why the new supply might be absent in this case is the new supply just isn't a very big threat to you. And so what this means is maybe the new supply, as far as the narcissist is concerned, maybe they're not as attractive as you are. Maybe they're not as successful as you are, something like that. The narcissist wants you to be jealous of what they have going on now. Look what I replaced you with, except they don't have anything really good going on right now. So the new supply is kind of hidden away and given that like dirty little secret treatment, if you will. Number two, this kind of meshes right in with the first one. The new supply is an obvious downgrade. And again, nothing they want to share with the world. So more than likely, you won't be able to see the new person, and probably nobody else on the narcissist's social media can see what's going on either. There might be something about this person that embarrasses the narcissist, or something that will make people look at the narcissist and maybe question their judgment here and kind of go, wow, what in the hell were you thinking? There's a lot of pride and ego with somebody narcissistic, obviously. Keeping up appearances is one of the main things they're going to do on their social media. Everything always has to look and appear to be a very certain way. It really matters what other people think about them and who they have in their life as well. If for some reason the narcissist thinks this person doesn't meet some kind of particular standard, they're probably going to leave the new supply out. And usually it's longer than you would actually think. But I know the natural question here, based on these first two things that we've talked about. If they're ashamed of this person, if they're a downgrade, if they're ugly, or, whatever the case may be, then why are you with this person? And that question has a super easy answer: because it's better than nothing to the narcissist. This person probably does provide some supply for the narcissist: time, attention, money, sex, the most common things that narcissists are after. But this person, they're just not proud of their new catch, proud enough to be like, yeah, here's everything all over Instagram and Facebook, and oh yeah, look what I got. They're just going, okay, I have something, I'm satisfied, but I don't really need to talk about it right now. So I'll just keep this really, really quiet. If you would like to support the channel and get yourself some exclusive content, you can become a member of the Survivors Army. You can click join just below the video to get started, or click the link down in the video description. Number three, the new supply might be absent on social media and in other places because you might actually know this person, and the narcissist fears you might reach out. Narcissists definitely don't want one source of supply finding out about the other. That could go sideways really fast. If you know this person, you might reach out. This in turn leaves the narcissist with absolutely nothing. Sometimes even if you don't know who the next victim is, it's just some new dude or some new chick, whatever, the narcissist fears that you'll reach out to this person, so they're just left off social media altogether. And this is basically fear of exposure. And that's a big no-no for the narcissist. This really cuts into what they have going on. It causes them to scramble for lesser supply on super short notice. They need as few people finding out what they're really all about as possible. But even with that being said, narcissists have quote unquote safety nets, so to speak. One of the first things they'll normally do with new supply is talk shit about you to this new person, and that's called the smear campaign. The new supply is told fairly quickly. You're crazy, you're untrustworthy, you're jealous, you won't leave them alone, you want them back, you just want to ruin this new wonderful thing the narcissist has going on. And like previously mentioned, this is done with intent to, one, build up the new supply. Oh, I'm so special. They think we have something special and blah, blah, blah. But also, it completely discredits you. Once the new person knows that you're nuttier than a sack of squirrels, they're less likely to buy what you're trying to sell them if you do try and reach out and warn them, hey, this person is bad or toxic or whatever, you need to get out. They're going to look at you like, okay, crazy, keep it moving. This base is covered pretty quickly with almost every narcissist in every new relationship they get into. But even so, even with that base covered and a smear campaign in full effect, the narcissist might still choose to just hide this person for a while and lay low. Number 4. The narcissist wants to look single as the day is long. So in fact, the fact that they are in a new relationship is hidden. This one's pretty easy. There's never enough for a narcissist. Their need for supply, narcissistic supply, which is just what you call attention, really, it's insatiable. There can never be enough. They need a primary supply, some secondary supply, backups to their backups, people on the bench, void fillers. Basically, they need what's called a narc harem. I have a video on it. I will leave the video on the narc harem down in the description for you, as well as some videos on the smear campaign if you want to know more about those. But narcissists need a whole damn crew of people ready at a moment's notice to please and serve them. Looking like they're not tied down to one person gives them obviously more ample access to the playing field, so to speak. It's easy when you can just tell 45 different people that you're dating that you're single as the day is long. And then you can go find 100 more people that you'd like to date and tell them that you're single as the day is long. If you would like to talk about a narcissistic relationship that you're in or you have been in, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to talk about it with me and get one-on-one coaching if you feel you need it. Number 5, the narcissist isn't really serious about this new person, so who gives a shit? Why waste time? And this slightly touches on that whole downgrade thing again. If this person is a downgrade to the narcissist or the last minute option, the last resort, the rebound, flat out, the narcissist doesn't take them very seriously. The narcissist doesn't take primary supply very seriously, so a last-minute rebound certainly is probably not going to make their way onto social media. They're filling a void, so to speak, until primary good supply that they can be proud of and show off and throw in your face, etc., can be found. And this is where I have to touch on image again. The new supply, should the narcissist choose to show the world who this is, will be the face of the relationship. And if it's not a face they want to show, because it's a last minute thing, the narcissist probably won't waste their time posting photos or something like that. They're just actively busy behind the scenes seeking this rebound's replacement. So segue here for a quick second. I know that the new supply is a very hot topic in the survivor community. I've been talking about it for 2 years. It is hard on me, though, to talk about it because I have to kind of sit here and refer to people, living, breathing human beings, as primary supply, part of a narc harem, a downgrade. And it's gross to me, honestly. But I want to just put this in here. I want people to kind of see this the way the narcissist views us, the way they view all of us. We're supply, no more and no less. We're a list of goods and services and really nothing more. So my hope is that for some folks, I really drive home that we're never going to be viewed as people or individuals or as an equal to somebody who is, very narcissistic. All right, PSA and rant over. Number 6. They don't want the new supply to be intermingled with their friends and their family. I know I sound like a broken record here, but image image and some more image. It's all about who sees, who doesn't, who the narcissist wants to see, and all of that. Also, with this one, the new supply might not be meeting a lot of family and friends. The narcissist cannot risk it, especially if they're dating a lot of different people at one time. I'll say it to you like this. You don't want people who are friends with your husband or your wife to know that you have a boyfriend or girlfriend now, do you? I've been saying the same kind of thing for years. When you're married, it kind of screws up your dating action. When you're living with your significant other, it screws up your dating action and your ability to get more boyfriends or more girlfriends or whatever you're into. So again, more fear. Narcissists have umpteen fears. I have a video about it. So if you want to learn the laundry list of things that narcissists are afraid of, I will leave the link to that video down with the link to all my other videos I talk about in the description. If you're kind of like new to this and to learning about the disorder, there will be a whole slew of videos down in the description for you to click on and jump into. Number 7, and I just kind of threw this one in here just to kind of be funny, but it can be true in some cases. There actually is no new supply to be shown, and the narcissist is just saying there is. So there's always usually somebody for the most part, but sometimes they can't really get something romantic happening, so they'll kind of divert to other, things. But the good old lie, narcissists are masters of, the long con, the pathological lying. So they might tell you that there's somebody new or several new people, or, they're sleeping on top of a pile of supermodels and maybe elude to that fact on social media, knowing that you're looking but can't find anything and it's making you crazy. Something might happen where they're just kind of telling you, but there's really nothing to see. So narcissists show or don't show things always in hope that it gets some kind of rise, response, reaction, whatever out of you. Perhaps you will lose your mind and say, oh, hell no. And you'll forget about no contact and you'll reach out and say, what are you doing? Sometimes they post very inflammatory things that are obviously directed at you to get you to reach out. So it's crazy to really think about how much time and effort and energy goes into a narcissist's day-to-day life and their social media too. Everything posted at a certain time to invoke a certain feeling, a certain kind of way. There's stuff they hope you see, stuff they hide, and it's quite like their real life. There's no real differentiating factor here. If you find yourself having questions like, well, is this new person better than me? Why is this new person better than me? Why is the narcissist still with this person? Does the narcissist treat somebody different than they treat me? Those are really a lot of popular questions here. So I am going to leave my entire new supply playlist on the screen now. You can check it out. I will also toss a video about no contact in there too. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. How does the narcissist get new supplies so fast? Why is this new person so much better than me? What happens if the new person in the narcissist's life decides to dump them? In this video, we are diving into the narcissist's new supply. We're going to pull apart the relationship, answer some questions, and we're starting right now. The new source of supply is just a term used to describe a new person who the narcissist has latched themselves onto. Usually this is the person who they end up with after you are discarded. So how does somebody narcissistic get new supplies so quickly? There are a few answers to this. Number 1, the narcissist tries very hard to make sure that supply is always available. Narcissists need to have an endless amount of people to pay attention to them, give them things, and basically overall worship them. Somebody always has to be around, and that is by way of the narc harem. The narc harem is the group of people who exist, and the narcissist just reaches out to them on an as-needed basis, so to speak. And the group, the harem, consists of exes, casual acquaintances, coworkers, people that maybe they want to date, or anybody that they can woo into being on the hook for a little while. Supply is always as available as the narcissist can make it, essentially. Number 2, the new supply, quote unquote, isn't really new. By the time we see them hooked up together on social media, by the time the rumors get around, or they tell you they have somebody new, The person actually isn't even new anymore. Before a narcissist typically will discard somebody, they have a new person all groomed and ready to go. This person has already been built up and love bombed and brainwashed and so on by the narcissist. Think of it kind of like the narcissist has a revolving door of people and they go in and out and in and out, but they're always adding new people as people exit and drop off. The line to go through the revolving door never stops. Number 3, the narcissist can downgrade, sometimes when supply is low, or perhaps you leave the relationship and throw them off guard and they don't really understand what's happening. The narcissist will resort to people that they don't really have a whole lot of interest in. The interest is low because they haven't had a lot of time to groom this person. They probably don't know if the person's a good source of supply. They also might not be too particularly attracted to this person. Anyone will do, anywhere, anytime, for the most part. There's always supply, and it's rarely somebody who's still new by the time we actually discover it. So what in the hell is so great about the new supply anyway? What does this person have that I don't? Here is what the new person has that you don't. Nothing. They're new to the situation. They're new to the narcissist. They're love bombed and built up and on cloud 9, and they can't see a lot of the same things that we probably didn't see. We make the assumption that because something is new, it's better, and that's not always the case. Narcissists target very much the same kind of people over and over again. Empathic, sweet, caring, perhaps successful people, and whatever a narcissist was after you for is probably what they're after the new person for. The gimmick here is that this is just somebody new that they can fool all over again, who will believe their lies and their crazy stories and everything else. And that's one of the reasons why we get discarded. We start to figure things out. We get angry that we're being treated this way, so we become resentful. We pull away. Narcissists take notice of that and can quickly decide to bail out. Narcissists will tell you or show off about how much better the new person is, but in time, that relationship is going to fall apart as well. If you would like to talk about a narcissistic relationship that you feel that you're in, or maybe you were in, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats or coaching if you feel you need it. So why can't the new supply see that this person is toxic and probably a narcissist? Easy. We didn't know either. I didn't know. I didn't have my PhD in bullshit and lies yet. You probably didn't either. They overlook red flags just like we did. They give too many chances and excuses, and they share a lot of similarities with us. Again, narcissists go after the same kind of people, too forgiving, giving too many chances, and so on. In time, some people see it and some people don't. So if a narcissist has new supply, why do they still hoover me? What is their deal? They have somebody new, so move on. I love this question because I really love short, simple answers. Narcissists are selfish as hell. They want to have their cake and they want to eat it too. Why have one person if you will still entertain them? Flat out, it's as simple as that. If the narcissist thinks that you can provide anything to them, any source of supply whatsoever, they are going to hoover you. And that should be noted, because if this new person is so awesome, why are they still talking to you? Think about that. How great is the newbie? Really, they're not. They're just the same list of goods and services that you were, that I was, that all of us are. But if they really were so wonderful, they wouldn't continue to circle around. They wouldn't need a big harem of people, and so on. So what happens if a narcissist gets dumped by their new flavor of the month, the week, whatever? If the new supply sorts this person out or doesn't put up with the drama, the bullshit, and rapidly dumps the narcissist, what's really going to happen is the narcissist just goes into full-on Hoover mode. The narcissist is going to sulk and, smear that person to you and to other people. I know because it happened to me. I find it humorous because I think narcissists actually get dumped a lot more than they want us to believe. They always think they have somebody so much better than you, and then months or maybe even just weeks later, they kind of fall flat on their faces. I think they get turned down, rejected, ignored, discarded a lot more than they want us to think that they do. So I enjoy that a little bit. What are you going to do? So what happens if a narcissist can't find new supply? The well is dry. No one's doing anything. They can't find anybody new. What happens here? When this happens, the narcissist is really going to cling to whomever they can from the past. They relentlessly hoover their exes and try to get something. And that makes sense if you actually think about it. If they can't move forward, then they're just going to cling to the past. And that can lead to victims being hoovered for months or even years after the relationship relationship is completely over and they're possibly sucked back in for one or more rounds of abuse all over again. The longer it takes for them to find new supply or new supply that they deem worthy enough to be supply, they're going to cling to the past a hell of a lot harder. So why is the narcissist with the new supply longer than they were with me? It has to mean that there's an issue with me, right? And this question, I always have to answer like this because I've said it before in other videos where I talk about the new supply. When in the hell did time begin to equal happiness? My mother was married to my narcissistic father for 18 years. It wasn't happy. It wasn't awesome because I was around for most of it, and I can assure you of that. The length of time a narcissist spends with supply is as transactional as everything else they do. Firstly, whomever they're with, they're cheating on. There's no commitment, there never will be. So even if they were with you for 3 years and maybe somebody new for 5 years, they're cheating on them just the same as they were cheating on you. They don't trust anybody enough to commit. They're not interested in commitment, so on and so forth. Secondly, the new person is, around longer if they're more easily abused. The narcissist stays until the supply leaves or they move on because the supply is unfortunately dried up. Therefore, this person must still be allowing the narcissist to abuse them. Don't be jealous of somebody else who is being abused by this person. There's nothing to be jealous of because one relationship lasts longer than the other. It really is inconsequential. Time doesn't equal happiness. And this literally kind of moves on into will the narcissist change? And the answer is anybody can change if they want to. But a narcissist, a true blue person with narcissistic personality disorder, thinks that everybody else is the problem, not them. So when you can't see that you need to change or you deny that you need to change, those changes are never going to happen. They literally leave and find somebody new when we have nothing left to give. They're not going to change to make the relationship work any better. They've drained us. They're emotional vampires and more than that. But so that shouldn't strike you as somebody who's really thinking about changing. So why does the, narcissist tell the new supply certain things about us? Or what are they telling, the new supply about us? Most of the time, the new supply is one of the first people the narcissist is going to run the smear campaign with. They're the first ones that the narcissist is going to talk shit about you to. They'll tell the new supply everything awful about you, some true and some not true. Oddly, this is done in love bombing to kind of build up the new supply and make them feel good. They're special, they're better. But then again, interestingly, during the devaluing stage, a narcissist might tell their new supply that the ex or you or a different ex, whatever, maybe you were better at certain things than the new supply is. You can cook better, maybe romantically, physically, things were better with an ex to triangulate and make them jealous. So the role of the new supply is just as manipulated as your role was. What they always are going to do is what they've always done. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Don't ever forget that. The new supply is also told most of the time that you're insane and you're jealous and you want the narcissist back, and it can discredit you in case you want to reach out to the new supply and try and warn them or get information from them about what is going on. So those were some of the most common questions about the new supply. If you have other questions about narcs or new supply or whatever, you can leave them down in the comments. I recommend these videos on the screen for you to check out. Thank you to my Survivors Army for your continued support. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. Why does the narcissist you were dealing with already have somebody new? Even more suspect, why does this person seem like such a downgrade? I have to say right out of the gate here that when I say downgrade, I'm not purposefully trying to insult anyone. This new person just seems like a downgrade to us because we feel we know what the narcissist is looking for. We assume they're looking for someone just like us. So when they pick somebody who is the opposite of us, blonde, brunette, short, tall, whatever, we naturally come to the conclusion that they're with somebody they don't like as much because this person seems to be the opposite of who we are. But I want to talk a little bit more about that after we go over the list. So why a narcissist appears to downgrade with their new person who they choose after you. Number one, the narcissist had to scramble, and this was the first person who showed interest in them. This happens a lot, especially when you are the one who walks away and ends the relationship. Narcissists, they have to be the ones who are right. They have to be the ones who, quote unquote, win the breakup, whatever the hell that even means. They have to be the ones that walk away and have that privilege to walk away. So when you rob them of that, they get pissed off about it. And this hits a narcissist right in the ego. How dare you move on and leave them? And now they're kind of stuck. You're gone and they don't have good supply lined up. They weren't expecting you were going to wake up and pack up your things and leave, or whatever the case may be. So it's not that they don't necessarily have anyone lined up. There's always somebody, but maybe they just didn't have good enough supply. Maybe they weren't finished grooming somebody new, or they weren't having any luck really finding a whole lot of new people at the moment when you decided to leave. So this is a scramble, and it's typically never really their first choice, or it's a choice that maybe they're okay with, but they're not quite sure how this person is going to react, what kind of supply they're going to give, and they're not really sure how things are going to go. Number two, the downgrade happened completely by accident. The narcissist left you for their new flavor of the month, but it appears the narcissist, even them, they move too fast for their own good sometimes, and things have now fallen apart. Usually this is because the new supply catches on to something happening, not even necessarily narcissism, but they don't like the way the narcissist is behaving, and they usually up and leave. Or the narcissist might think the new supply looks good on paper, but then not so much. Most of these relationships don't last very long. This is the rebound person that a narcissist uses between you and their new primary source of supply. Narcissists will always have overlapping lovers as much as they possibly can. This is called monkey branching. The narcissist will never completely let go of the last person before they make sure they have something really great and fantastic with the new person. However, as you can see, when the downgrade happens by accident, sometimes they get it completely wrong. Clearly, they have misjudged this new person. If you'd like to talk about a narcissistic relationship that you feel that you are in, or maybe you were in, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats with me if you would like to do so. Number three, the narcissist just needs a boost. When you hit a narc's ego, you make them feel bad. You inflict that narc injury. You shock them, embarrass them, whatever it is. They're feeling down. They're not doing so hot. They're more than likely to pick a downgrade for themselves, somebody that they're not super interested in. But it's kind of that old saying, oh, well, this is better than nothing. This is something, and something is all I need right now. Again, this is usually one of those rebound relationships that lasts somewhere between 3 and 6 months. They can last longer, but usually that's not the case. When they're reeling from that narc injury, sometimes they just need a little pick-me-up, and whoever says hi to them first is the next unfortunate victim. Number 4, they downgrade to just completely piss you off. I have to say here that pissing you off is never the main goal in this case. They need supply. They don't care where they get it from. They don't care if it's a downgrade or an upgrade or whatever. They want something. Make no mistake, that is always priority number 1. However, when it's plastered all over social media for you to see, or you hear about it through your mutual friends, whatever the case may be, now, if it hurts you, that is totally a bonus for them, but never their primary goal. It is supposed to piss you off. They want you to see or hear this. Maybe you'll reach out to them because you see something like this. The narcissist wants you to have that fear of missing out on something. They want you to know you were wrong because, hey, look at me. I'm with somebody else now. So clearly the problem was you. Again, this can fuel jealousy and triangulation, and then hoovering attempts can happen. Most narcissists have no real type. That was the thing that I wanted to talk about, that I spoke about in the beginning of the video. If you have a certain color hair and somebody is something polar opposite from you, They don't care. Sure, everybody has preferences. Everybody has types and certain things that they like. But the normal thing with a narcissist is there is no normal thing. They're going to choose who gives them the best supply, the most supply, regardless, for the most part, of what they look like or how they behave or what they have going on. It's always who treats the narcissist the best. We're also usually told that what we do as a person and how we look is what they're looking for. We're put up on a pedestal. We're praised for being so handsome, so beautiful. You do this, you do that. So when they find somebody who doesn't do the same things we do, again, we kind of get thrown for a loop a little bit. Well, why would you be with this person? They're the exact opposite of me. That doesn't really have anything to do with anything. That person is giving them the most supply, the best supply. They're going with the flow. They were easy to groom. It's always about the path of least resistance. I was told that the person I was with was into girls who obviously looked just like me. So naturally, when it's plastered on social media that he's with essentially my polar opposite, clearly there was confusion. I thought there was a downgrade. Now, not necessarily. I don't know enough about the situation to know if it was a downgrade. I know it was a rebound that didn't last very long because 3 months later I got hoovered, but there was definitely confusion. There was, well, obviously you don't want somebody like me. You want somebody like that. Truthfully, it doesn't matter. Don't stress about that a whole lot because with somebody narcissistic, preferences or whatever aside, anyone will do, at least in the short term anyway. And we shouldn't look at anybody as a downgrade. They're humans just like we are. And after we get to know a person like this, somebody narcissistic and their motives, we can tell when they pick a new person that doesn't seem like us. And we really shouldn't be bothered by the fact that maybe this person doesn't fill our shoes very well. Maybe they do something else. We don't know this person. Always keep in mind, looks aren't everything. What somebody does for a living, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't make us who we are. We don't know what angle a narcissist is trying to work. I know, to be a fly on the wall. At the end of the day, narcissists pick kind people, caring people, empathic people, codependent people, and things like that. Don't be jealous of the new supply either. There's no reason to be jealous. Think about it like this. There's no reason to be jealous of the truck that drove down your street on garbage day and picked up some useless shit off your lawn, okay? One person's trash, and we know how the rest of that goes. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, Survivor. Take care of yourself. You've seen it on social media, you've heard it from your family, maybe your friends, however you've discovered it, and maybe you knew it all along, but the narcissist has new supply. There's somebody new in their life. I think regardless of when we learn this information, when we do, I think it's a huge trigger and it stops us dead in our tracks and can really hinder our healing and moving forward. Narcissist or not, when someone we were in a relationship with moves along and we find out about it, I think we all kind of begin to take our own inventory. We compare and contrast to this new person and go, how is this new person better than me? Are they worse than me? And all these thoughts begin to snowball. In my own personal experience, I didn't really do this much throughout my dating career until I had a relationship with a narcissist. All of a sudden, I really cared about who this dude was with after he and I had broken up. And this stems a lot from, well, our own sheer morbid curiosity, but I think it also feels the way it does because we have a complete and utter lack of closure when we're dealing with somebody who is narcissistic. Nonetheless, is the narc happier now question will always come into play. Even if we don't think about it for too long, I think it at least happens a little bit. On the outside, it seems that the narcissist is happier with this new person. All the social media posting and whether they're doing this with their, new flavor of the month or not, they seem to really be talking themselves up. Everything they're doing, all their goals, all their accomplishments, there's a lot of bragging, and it's all done to make it seem as if you have really lost out on something and someone amazing. You might hear the narcissist is doing all kinds of things with the new supply that they promised they would do with you. And it all seems to make sense, right? If this is truly happening, if they're making all these plans with somebody else, they promised you things, but you didn't get them, but they're doing them with somebody else, then you must have been the problem. You're over here still left in the dust, reeling from what happened to you, and they're moving on and they just seem happy as a clam. So clearly, again, you must have been the issue, right? And that really couldn't be further from the truth. So let's debunk all of that there. As far as social media is concerned, we all post things that we're okay with the rest of the world seeing. If you don't do that, just FYI, everything you post, the rest of the world is going to see. Hell, 80% of the internet is humble brags anymore anyway. It doesn't make it true. And you know what? It doesn't make a shitty person like a narcissist all of a sudden awesome because they're posting all this stuff that isn't even true. Even if it is, it doesn't make somebody like this all of a sudden wonderful and amazing. We all really need to do ourselves a favor and stop looking to social media as if it's real life. Anybody can be anything online. Don't put much stock into any of that. Do yourself a favor, pull away from social media. If you hear the narcissist is doing all kinds of things for the new supply that you weren't getting, there actually is an explanation for that behavior. And it isn't because the new supply is better than you or because they deserve something and you don't. Whatever negative thoughts it is that you're thinking about yourself and why you didn't get things, go ahead and just forget all about that. Let's say the two of you planned a trip somewhere and it was obvious future faking and it didn't happen. But now, of course, the narc has their new trip, planned with their new person. Obviously, you weren't going to experience the trip, the vacation. It was future faking, something to get you over a rough patch, to keep you hanging on. The narcissist told you something in the moment to make you happy, essentially trying to sign that check that their ass can't cash. So why does the new supply get the trip or get whatever it is that you really wanted that you weren't getting? Easy. They're being love bombed. It's hard to gauge someone's happiness in the beginning of the relationship, any relationship. The most fun part for all of us is learning this new person, being excited to get messages from them and first dates and calling them and all of that. It's fun and exciting and mysterious and, of course, brand new. So yeah, we're all on cloud nine. What better way for a narcissist to love bomb someone than by doing something super romantic or over the top and taking them on a trip or something else that you had planned, but you never got? If it was promised to you in the devaluing phase of your relationship, you were never going to get it. It kind of got you through that rough spot, that arguing, and got you to stay a little bit longer with these false promises that something was going to happen. If the new supply is fairly new, they will get all the things that were promised to you. And again, here's why. It's really easy. You and the narcissist had already planned the trip. The narcissist might have already bought the gift or whatever the case may be. There's really no planning here. They already knew the destination. Maybe they already knew what the flight was going to cost. All they did was erase your name off and write somebody else's name on it. If they bought a gift they were going to give you, again, all you do is take the tag and erase your name and write somebody else's name on there. And it's easy to just delete a person and slide a new person into place. This is the narcissist working. This is the narcissist making sure that this new person is good and brainwashed and love bombed before the beginning of the end. You are now seeing this in action. You are seeing love bombing, and you are seeing the narcissist behave in ways that you wanted them to so badly at the end of the relationship. Of course, they're being sweet and nice and funny and charming and giving this new person all the stuff that you wanted and you weren't getting. The narcissist's happiness, if any, and this goes for more than just dealing with, new supply, it's fast and fleeting. Guess what? Have you been hoovered? Well, they're already over the new supply. Have you seen them floating around on a dating app? They're already over the new supply. The new supply fizzles out just as quickly as things did with you because nothing has changed. It's just a new person is put into place. The narcissist believes that this is how they fix the answer to their problems. Lo and behold, it isn't going to be the answer. The new person is human just like the rest of us. And the narcissist will be over that the same way they are with us. It doesn't matter if the new supply seems lower than you, better than you. They're never going to be what the narcissist is looking for. Perfection. Perfection is relative if it even exists at all. Let's say what it is. Narcissists will never find what they're looking for, and it will never be enough. Narcissists are missing something inside. A heart, a soul. Well, maybe not that, but well, maybe. But they're missing loving themselves, making themselves happy, their own validation. There's trauma that they haven't dealt with. No relationship, no matter how wonderful or who it's with, can fix an emotional hole in a person. No marriage, no money, no kids, no love. Nothing fixes that except the person with the issue working on it. Forget not being happy with new supply. Narcissists are never happy, period. Nothing that somebody like this is going through has anything to do with you. Nothing the narcissist is dealing with is your fault or your cause. It doesn't work that way. This is how they operate, like clockwork. It's ease, convenience, power, manipulation, control, and that's what it's all about. If you'd like to talk about a narcissistic relationship that you're in, or maybe you were in, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats and coaching with me if you feel you need it. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. In this video, I want to talk about the new person in the narcissist's life. What happens when they decide to reach out to you? Will they reach out to you? If it happens, how do you respond? And so on. Let's do it. New supply to a narcissist is ever so rarely new. Chances are they've been hanging around with this person for a while. Unless you very suddenly just walked away, your replacement was probably chosen weeks or months before you even knew anything about it. Sometimes the new supply you stumble across isn't actually the first person the narcissist was with after everything with you was all said and done. They can very quickly hop around. Sometimes after leaving their primary supply, the very next relationship they get into is extremely reboundy and doesn't last very long at all. Nonetheless, they do move on with other people. That's what we all do when a relationship is over. So how should you handle things if the narcissist's new supply, not the narcissist, reaches out to you? Really simple and quick answer is the same as so many other answers when it comes to dealing with all of this stuff. You do nothing. You ignore the call or the text, delete and block what you need to do. Of course, a lot of the time it's easy to say and not so much to do. If you can do that with no issues, you have done the best thing possible. And I think it helps us as survivors stay quiet and not respond to these kinds of things if we have all the information that we need. We might have questions for the new supply. We might want to know what they're going to have to say to us. Why are they reaching out in the first place? But when you stop and think about it, there really is only so much the new supply is going to say to you. If new supply reaches out, they're only going to do a couple of things. Usually they'll flaunt the narcissist in your face. I have this now, you don't. They're going to let you know they have this person, things are so great, or they may have gotten a taste of what the narcissist is like, and now they're coming to you, maybe asking you if this person has behaved this way with you. They want information because maybe there is a little bit of trouble in their paradise. A lot of times this is done at the bidding of the narcissist, done as a passive-aggressive Hoover, triangulation, more devaluation, trying to trigger or spark some kind of jealousy. But sometimes the new supply does just take this on completely by themselves. They want to gloat, they want to fight, they want information, maybe they want to do all of the above. But none of this do you need to hear. This isn't your fight anymore. This is nothing you need to deal with anymore. It's not even your place to warn this person of the dangers that so clearly lie ahead. If they reach out to you for any reason, they've probably already gotten a taste of some kind of manipulation and abuse, even if they aren't completely aware of it yet. This needs to be handled just like a Hoover by proxy, because that's what it is. Whether the narcissist in question has had a hand in pushing this person to contact you or not, it's still some kind of weird Hoovery thing that needs to be just as ignored as if the narcissist were to pick up the telephone and call you. It's always hard to say if the new person is going to reach out or not. Sometimes it happens very shortly after things are over between the two of you. Sometimes years can pass. You might not even be contacted, like I say, by the person that they left you for. It might be somebody else completely new entirely who knows something about you. Probably because the narcissist, no matter how many new people they choose, continue to run smear campaigns on you and every other relationship and lover that they've collected over their entire dating career. If you would like to talk one-on-one about a narcissistic relationship that you're in right now, or maybe you're still working on getting over a relationship like this, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats and coaching with me if you feel you need it. I know this has happened and will happen to a lot of survivors. I also know that not everybody will be quiet when hoovered. I say this because that's what I did. But by the narcissist, new supply, flying monkey, whatever, I want to address all this because I'm certainly not here to judge people if they do entertain the hoover. I have spoken candidly many times on the channel about how I was hoovered and I entertained it. Remember, if you do choose to speak, always try to look like the bigger, more mature person. There's no reason to lash out and look angry and bitter and mean. Just like when dealing with the narcissist, you don't want this person to catch any idea of how you might really feel about the situation. It just isn't necessary. Don't give them those feelings. Don't show your hand of cards to somebody else. Don't entertain this fight with this person over a person. Well, never fight over anybody ever to begin with. If somebody isn't choosing you, don't choose them right back and move on with your life. If you have questions, you can ask them, but you more than likely won't get the truth. And let's say what it is. Some truth you really just don't want to hear. You can probably put two and two together all on your own. If this person has reached out to you and has questions, maybe the relationship isn't going so well, they're starting to put pieces together, you can answer them. But if you do want to answer them, be truthful. Don't try and mislead this person and harm this person any further. There's no reason, like I said before, to be angry, bitter, hateful, resentful towards anybody or anything. I say all of this in case you have something that you just need to say. And ultimately, how you handle this, you're going to do it however you choose, but you really will feel better in the end to just ignore, delete, block, and keep it moving. You can find answers on your own. The new supply is going to have to do the same. Cruel, yes, but that's the way it is. You don't need any answers, and neither do they. Both of you need to keep clear of this person. Neither of you need to be fighting with each other, especially over somebody who isn't worth much of a damn anyway. As badly as you were treated by the narcissist in your relationship, the new supply is going to get extremely similar treatment. We've all read about it or seen it firsthand. I've done both. Don't for a second think the new supply is getting something or someone that you didn't. You've already had your ride through this super weird haunted house. It's just somebody else's turn now. The narcissist, the new supply, however plentiful they are, flying monkeys, mutual friends, all of those are people who need to be completely eliminated from your life. This is another thing that can sometimes be much easier said than done. But to get your life moving in a more positive direction, you would be much better off to wipe the slate clean, so to speak, in so many areas of your life. As a survivor of abuse, you have a job to do. The narcissist was horrible to us, but now we have a responsibility to heal and come through all of this even better than we were before. Find toxic people in our lives and sever those ties completely. The new supply is not, in fact, the love of the narcissist's life. Narcs are afraid of love. They have a very warped, twisted, creepy idea of what love even is. The same things that happen to you will happen to this new person. That is just the way it is. Nothing to sit around and ponder about over and over. This is going to happen repeatedly between a narc and whatever new supply they choose. I have a whole playlist on the new supply. If you want more information about it, it's at the end of the video here for you. Tell me if you were contacted by new supply down in the comments. If you were, how did you handle it? Did you just keep it moving? Did you speak to them? Do you think the narcissist in question put them up to doing it? Or was it just something that they did on their own? Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. The new supply is happier than me. I see it all the time on social media. They're doing things with the narcissist that we never did together. I can't tell you how many times I've heard those statements. So today I want to talk about the narcissist, the new supply, and I want to bust a lot of complete myths. One of the most important things I want to touch on first is please stop taking everything you see on social media so seriously. Social media is a wonderful way to be able to keep in touch with people and share what we have going on in our lives, but not everything you see is true. Not everything you see is what it appears to be. Even think about your own social media. I don't post every time I'm having a terrible day. I don't post every fight I have or every date I go on. Remember, you can't verify what is being posted, and you can't see and you don't know about what is not being posted. Lastly, don't loiter on their social media pages because it makes you nuts. So don't do that. Okay, now down to business. The new supply is happier than me. Well, I want to start off with what makes you think that? The new supply is being love bombed. You got love bombed. You were happy. Of course, weren't we all? But how long did that last? A few weeks, maybe a few months. I got love bombed for about 3 months. I was on cloud 9. But as you and I both know, that changed dramatically and rapidly. Narcissists are going to repeat this cycle over and over again. Try not to confuse some happiness that you might see or hear about with the new supply as something that's going to be long lasting. You're living, breathing proof that even after we stop being happy, we stay. We try to pretend as if we're still happy. This new person, just like you, will more than likely be thrown off by the sudden change as they get devalued. And they will be devalued, but we'll talk about that throughout the video. This new supply will try and overcompensate more than likely and pretend like things are just fine, just like we did for a significant amount of time. Also, comparing yourself to somebody else is one of the worst things you can do. Don't do this. Sure, this person might still be genuinely happy with a narcissist 6 months in, a year in, whatever, and maybe you weren't. It's not the narcissist who's doing anything differently, quote unquote. It's how the other person is responding to the abuse or not responding. The narcissist might be with somebody a lot younger, and maybe they haven't been in many relationships and they think that this is just the way it goes. Maybe the devaluing is so subtle by a supreme covert narcissist that the new supply hasn't sorted out what's happening yet. They more than likely might be used and abused and feel that it's normal. They're being brainwashed. There's a lot happening with this person that we might not be aware of. Narcissists don't change. The people they choose are the only variable in the scenario. If you'd like to talk one-on-one with me about what you're going through, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com for private chats. I also hear things like, well, the narcissist and the new supply, they're taking a trip. They got engaged. They're going here and doing this and that. And we never did any of this. And they said they hate this. I hear all of this all the time too. So I want to break all this down because it's all garbage. Yes. The narcissist might do things with the new person they didn't do with you. The narcissist I was with didn't have a very big social media presence because I didn't have one. I didn't post every time I eat a sandwich, and I still don't. But he didn't either. But when it was time for him to get new supply and I was discarded and he was actually publicly seeing other people instead of just doing it privately, there was a huge surge in his social media activity. Well, the girls that he was going after, they were on social media. They had a big presence on social media. It meant a lot more to them than it does to me. All that social media garbage that I don't really like, except for my career, which is this. We have to remember that narcissists mirror who they are abusing. They'll like what you like and dislike what you dislike. It's the same thing they've done to us. Maybe they will go on a trip or do something that seems out of character for them to you because it is out of character for them and you know that. But what they're doing now is they're mirroring somebody else. There's somebody else in this scenario now, and it's not you. They are not mirroring you anymore. They're not love bombing you anymore. Narcissists can also be greatly influenced by their supply. Maybe you didn't push for engagement or marriage or something, and this new person did. Maybe something wasn't very important to you or you didn't care, and this other person did. We will never really know the full scope of what else is going on because we don't know this new supply's morals, values, standards, whatever. Just because we don't have all this information, it doesn't mean that anything is better or that anyone is being treated differently or better. They're being mirrored, copied. Copycatting is a big thing. It also means mirroring. They're being love bombed and abused, just like you were. For some reason, people also seem to think if they date a narcissist for a year, for example, 12 months, and the narcissist goes on to date somebody for 2 years, 5 years, or more, that all of a sudden that seems to mean something. So my next question is, why do you think just because they have a longer relationship after you, that it's all of a sudden better, that was the right person? My mom was married to the asshole of an abuser that was my father for 18 years, and I was around for like 16 of them. And I'm here to tell you, as someone who lived through 16 years of emotional abuse, minimization, and torture, that sucked ass. It wasn't good. It wasn't all bad, but I was being abused significantly. And unfortunately, so was my mother. That's what really bothers me the most. The narcissist I talk about on here all the time, who I dated, has been on and off with some chick for like over 2 years now. Who cares? She's not happy. He's not happy. I know what kind of a little boy he is. I can't call him a man because he doesn't act like one. But yeah, he's been with other people, probably more than one person, longer than the year and a half that we were together. So what? He cheated on me. He stole from me. He lied to me. He emotionally manipulated and tortured me. I don't want to be in anything any longer. 18 months was enough. I don't want more than that. Time doesn't equal happiness. It never has. It never will. The narcissist isn't going to change for this new person. You might see them acting differently, but again, they're mirroring a brand new, different person. Everything else stays the same. Narcissists are missing something in themselves internally, and you can't fix that externally. That's why a narcissist is going to do this over and over and over. They're seeking external instant gratification. They're not fixing what's really truly going on. I don't care what magical person you seem to drop into a scenario with the narcissist. They'll mirror, love bomb, future fake, devalue, manipulate, gaslight, discard, hoover. They'll do it all. It's literally called the narcissistic cycle of abuse. There is no one new. There is no one more special. There isn't someone better. That's complete and utter bullshit. If you have more questions about narcissists and the new supply, I have a whole playlist dedicated to the new supply and all the questions that you might have. I will pop it on the screen for you here if you want to dig around into that. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everybody who is supporting my channel, my producers, my Survivors Army, all my subs, and even those of you who just stopped by to listen. I really appreciate it, and it means the world to me. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. This video is probably going to hit a nerve with some people, but I don't care. I want to talk about why it seems like the narcissist downgrades with their new source of supply after they discard you. I want to talk about, is it a downgrade? Why does this happen? Sometimes it seems like a downgrade, sometimes it doesn't. And really, why do so many of us care when really we shouldn't? So here we go. I think many people wonder a lot about the new supply. Some of you don't. I know. I'll hear all about it in the comments about how you're better than everyone else because you don't think about it. If you don't, good for you. But I truly believe you're in the minority if you don't, so this might not be the video for you. It's okay. However, I think most highly empathic and possibly codependent people care about who the narcissist moves on with, especially when we're the ones who have been discarded. It hurts more when you're left for somebody else than if you are the one who does the walking away. Don't get me wrong, though, that part really hurts too. So, why does it seem like the narcissist downgrades? I kind of want to split these up and talk about different downgrade possibilities because everything with a narcissist is very situational. And a lot of times, if they do downgrade with their new source of supply, it has a lot to do with how the relationship with you ended. So, I'm going to kind of pull this apart a little bit. There are a couple of things that will happen that will cause a narc to downgrade when they discard you. They throw you away and they move on. More often than not, what happens when you're discarded and all of a sudden there's a downgrade of new supply, that happens completely by accident. This is especially true if you were primary supply. Primary supply is not easy to replace. The narc thinks they made a good pick. They did all the proper testing and grooming, and it looks like a good jump, very viable source of supply. But lo and behold, the narc goes right from the frying pan and into the fire. This person either sorts them out too quickly or the narc gets bored. Something happens. It really doesn't matter one way or the other what goes wrong, but something does. And it's truly a downgrade because it falls apart so quickly. Now the narc has nothing, and I don't think they ever really see that coming. Another way a downgrade might happen, which is kind of hard to fathom, you would think they wouldn't walk away unless they knew something would work out, but it's kind of something I call the pick-me-up. The pick-me-up supply is always a downgrade. They're not meant to be long-term to begin with. This is something the narc picks up as a rebound, to have something as they seek out different supply. A narc leaves you, has a fling that lasts 3 months, something like that. That's a pick-me-up, while they're searching for a new primary source. They can also choose a downgrade on purpose in hopes of getting a response from you or other people, or typically both. They can attempt to triangulate the two of you, and I'll talk about that again a little bit later on in the video. If you'd like help and support for a narcissistic relationship that you're in right now, or if you feel like you need some help healing from a narcissistic relationship that you've gone through, I invite you to email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats and coaching sessions with me. When you walk away and leave a narcissist, let's flip this around, a downgrade is far more likely because a lot of narcs get caught off guard with you just walking out of their life. Narcissists have huge egos. We know this. So you walking away is not even in their scope of possible things that could happen. So all of a sudden, it's what I call the scramble. Very self-explanatory. You're gone, they need somebody else, and the first person who comes along will do in a pinch. It's a downgrade as the narcissist has no time to test or groom or do what they need to do. They just have to latch on to the first fish that bites on the hook. And whether they walk away or you do, a big downgrade can happen when the narcissist tries to spark jealousy, which is what I was talking about just a few moments ago. They want you to see that they have somebody, anybody will do for them, but hopefully you will see this, hear this through friends or family members, see it on social media, and it'll prompt you to become jealous, possibly hoover, or so they hope. A lot of people think the narcissist downgrades because the new supply is the complete opposite of you. They're younger, older, thinner, heavier, taller, shorter, whatever you were, this person is the opposite, and so on. This is pretty much what happened to me. The person was younger, looked extremely different than I do, so on and so forth. Either way you go, I don't care which route you pick, this hits your ego. If the new supply is better looking in your opinion, you feel like shit. If the new person looks worse than you go, oh, wow. And it actually still makes you feel like shit regardless. It's not just looks either. Other factors come into play here, depending on how much we learn about the new supply. What do they do for a living? Where do they live? Do they have kids and things like that? The whole thing about a downgrade is we see things so incredibly differently than the narcissist does. I believe sometimes narcs know they downgrade, and sometimes they truly don't feel like they have. When things are done with us, over. The narcissist doesn't think we're perfect anymore. Either we left And then they have those feelings of abandonment and we hurt them, blah, 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 or they're sick of us and they walk away. So we no longer have the narc carrying a torch for us anymore. That's what we have to remember. You might still be beautiful, handsome, smart, successful, all of that, and no one's taking it away from you, not even the narcissist, but you're not perfect anymore. You walked away, you have one foot out the door, you don't listen, you don't behave. You still are not good enough for them anymore. That's why things are over now. So even though you still have all those wonderful qualities about you, the narcissist doesn't value you much anymore because you've broken a lot of rules, or they're just kind of over it and moving on to somebody who they believe to be better. I think what we really have to focus on in the case of all this is, why do we care? Why do we compare ourselves to the new supply? Why are we so curious about them and all of this stuff? We have to focus on us because we will never be in the mind of a narcissist. We'll never know why they choose who they choose, or when, or why, or how. We'll never know. And I guarantee, even if they told us, we wouldn't believe them anyway, because you can't trust somebody like this any further than you can throw them. But when we worry about things like this, when all of this bothers us, there's clearly something that we have to work out that has nothing to do with the new supply. One of the most unfair things you can do to yourself is compare yourself to anybody else. Whether you think this new person in their life is a downgrade, an upgrade, sideways, whatever, never compare yourself to anybody. Nobody else is you, and you're not anybody else. The truth is, none of it even matters with a narcissist. They could find the most wonderful people, and most of them do, many times over. They find wonderful, beautiful, handsome, successful, so on and so forth people over and over again, and they shit all over it. Think about celebrities. The richest, most successful, most beautiful people in the world, right? Now think about how many of them are toxic, and they all cheat on each other and wreck each other's lives and do all that damage. That's clear proof that it doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. Toxic people will do this. Crush, kill, destroy, flat out. It hurts when someone moves on, good, bad, or otherwise, upgrade, downgrade, whatever. It hurts. Everyone does it though. People split up, they move on, and the narc is no different. Who they choose has nothing to do with you. We're talking about narcissists. Nothing about them has anything to do with us. It is always going to be about them. For some reason, and it's usually a reason we never know about, they seem to think that this person is better. Or if they don't necessarily think it's better, they're going to keep what they have and continue to move forward. They don't want to revert back to old supply. We don't work, they know why we don't work, and they need to keep moving forward. The focus on everything when you're going through all this stuff needs to be about healing, moving forward, focusing on yourself, regardless of who they pick or who they don't. Whatever they do, a narcissist is a narcissist is a narcissist. They will truly ruin everything they touch. I'll tell you something that my mom told me about my narcissistic father a long time ago. She said, Jesse, everything your dad touches turns to shit. And you know what? She was pretty much right. So tell me about the upgrade, downgrade, whatever down in the comments if you would like to do that. Thank you so much for listening to my off the cuff ramble here. I just kind of had to get this all out. It was something I've been thinking about for a while. So again, thanks for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. Regardless of what kind of relationship somebody has with a narcissist, every relationship will fail. In this video, I want to talk about why the narcissist will always need new supply, no matter what they currently have going on. And I want to talk about why it will always fail, no matter what. Narcissistic supply, which is just a fancy term in this community for attention, is nothing short of heir to a narcissist. They need it. It is incredibly painful for a narcissist to not have any kind of supply or no good supply. And that's why they always do. They always have it. And usually in a fairly mass quantity. Narcissists have such a great need for supply that one person in their life will never be enough. The narc harem exists for purely that reason. Their harem consists of all their sources, new and old alike. And of course, the more, the merrier. So why does someone highly narcissistic always need new supply, right? Always someone new walking into that revolving door of abuse, so to speak. Firstly, like I mentioned, one person is never enough for a narcissist. They will always add more. Secondly, narcissists get bored extremely quickly. There needs to be someone, or, well, many someones, frequently added to keep things interesting, fun, new, and exciting for the narcissist. People are there to provide for narcissists. I've always said we're nothing more than a list of goods and services for these people, and that also includes, of course, just providing entertainment. Another reason why there always needs to be a new source or a fairly new source is because just as many people that enter that revolving door, as many new sources that are sucked in and start going round and round, there are people walking out on the other side. Narcissists can discard, for example. A lot of people also get fed up and walk away from the relationship. So there will always be that need to draw new people in to keep the numbers up. One person will never be enough for someone narcissistic, like I said, because at some point we sleep, we work, we go out of town, we have family, friends, children, and we cannot possibly fulfill a narcissist's insatiable list of demands. Even if we could, even if we were available 24/7, we would still be doomed. The relationship would still fail because it doesn't take any time at all for the narcissist to become bored with you, like I mentioned. But surely somebody will come along and fix it, right? Surely that one perfect source is out there. Even though we don't match up, even though we can't make them happy, a lot of people have that wild idea that the new supply or a new source of supply can in fact do everything for the narcissist that we just couldn't seem to do. And I understand why a lot of people feel like their replacement, quote unquote, will do better. Hell, sometimes we're even told the new person will do better, is better, the relationship is going to go so far. I know why it didn't work with you. You suck. This new person's so great. You know, sometimes we're even told those things. What I really want to hammer home in this video is regardless of who the new person is or how many new persons there are, no matter what, all narcissistic relationships, romantic and otherwise, will fail. If you'd like to talk with a survivor and get help and support for what you're going through, you can set up appointments to chat with me by emailing bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. Narcissists put all responsibility for themselves onto other people. This means every single person in their life is responsible for things like making them happy, validating them, boosting them up, fluffing their ego, making them feel loved and wanted, taken care of, etc. However, there's a big issue with that. And this is why things always fail. When you put those kinds of demands on other people, frankly, other people are always going to fall short. Either they literally just fall short and can't do it, or the narcissist's expectations are ridiculously high and nobody can meet them. Make me happy, love me, validate me, respect me, take care of me, and do it exactly the way I want you to. And let me do whatever I want to you, and don't question me. Boy, that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? Sign me up. Narcissists clearly need a team, an entourage, for lack of a better word, of people to do these things for them. However, that is just not enough, and it's never going to be. A narcissist becomes disenchanted with everyone. Again, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, coworkers, friends, whatever. It doesn't matter what relationship you have with them. It falls apart because they get so disinterested. They become so unhappy with everyone because they're unhappy people. No matter what you do or what you don't do, you will fall from grace in their eyes. They will devalue, they will discard, even if not permanently. This is just a cycle we are all doomed to go through. I do want to add this in though. You not being discarded doesn't mean the relationship has failed. Just because maybe you're picked up as a new source and maybe they marry you and maybe they don't ever say anything about a divorce, it doesn't mean the relationship is going swimmingly just because the narcissist hasn't discarded or just because you haven't walked away. When you're in a loveless relationship or marriage or a really crappy friendship where everything is so one-sided, you're fighting all the time, being cheated on, stolen from, lied to, used and abused, the relationship has failed. Those are not successful relationships. My relationship was a complete and just utter epic fail months before I got discarded, months before I saw it coming. It was already over. It was a disaster. It was a failure. Everything fails with highly toxic, highly narcissistic people. The real reason why a narcissist will just never, ever find love, true love, real friends, good friends, a happy, loving relationship. The real reason why everything fails is themselves. Narcissists are not interested in getting out of their own way. As long as they put all the responsibility on other people, you're always going to be disappointed. That's just the way it is. When your expectations are so high and you've just deemed that everybody sucks, you are always going to be constant, chronically, consistently disappointed, and it fails. What narcissists need is to step back and let it sink in that it is not our job to make them happy. Life is what you make it. I hate that it's super cliche, but it's true. Plain and simple, deliciously simple. If you don't like the way things are going, well, if they don't like the way things are going, they have to change what they're doing. It is nobody else's job to fix them, support them, make them happy, boost them up, and so on and so forth. It is no one else's job to try and try and try, failing over and over again to give the narcissist what they're missing. Doing this is sad, futile. It's like trying to fill a black hole out in space. It's endless, and the more you try, the bigger it gets, the more daunting of a task it becomes. We are responsible for our own happiness, both us and narcissistic people and everybody in between. I am responsible for validating myself. I need neither permission nor credit from anybody else. I am responsible for loving myself, taking care of myself. I have to do this. We all have to do this. Highly empathic people and very toxic narcissistic people. But narcissists are missing these things. They lack these things. They are very empty people. When we're missing something inside of ourselves, nobody else can fix that. When we're traumatized, when we're damaged, again, no one else can fix that. No one can fix a narcissist. No one. I don't care how great you are, and I'm sure you are great. Nobody else can do it. No one can please a narcissist. No one can truly love a narcissist. You can't truly love somebody who just isn't interested in that idea. It's impossible to give someone what they are lacking in themselves. They don't love themselves. I don't care how much you love them. Again, useless, futile. It doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't matter. They need external validation and support. I always call narcissists cold-blooded animals, and we are the heat lamp. We need to try and regulate them. We need to try to make sure they're happy and their environment is just right. But we're not. We're human. And that doesn't work. Until a narcissist gives themselves what they need, every relationship is going to fail. You never need to worry about a relationship working. If you are upset that this person has a new source of supply, if you're very jealous and you see them on social media and they're carrying on and popping out children and getting engaged and doing all this stuff, whatever they're doing or not doing, engagements mean nothing. Marriage means nothing. Kids, nothing. The narcissist is still empty inside. That external stuff they're getting is not fixing what is wrong on the inside that they need to fix. The new supply can't do any better than you can. No one can do better than you, because what needs to be done is for the narcissist to learn how to depend on themselves and stop looking to other people to give them what they need. It is not your job to fix what doesn't want to be fixed. So tell me how you feel about this. Do you think a new supply can be a savior for a narcissist? Do you think that the narcissist is ever happy with what they have? Please like and subscribe if you haven't done that. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everyone supporting the video, leaving comments, Survivor's Army, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. There is, I believe, a wild misconception that narcissists are happier once they move on with a different source of supply. This could not be further from the truth. And in this video, I'm going to break down why a narcissist is not happier once they move on. I think for us to really get this idea, we have to think like a narcissist would think, which is not something I recommend, but as quickly as possible, as quickly as we can here, let's think about why we seem to feel that a narcissist is happier now with someone new than they were before. Well, obviously, there's going to be new supply, isn't there? There's someone new in their life, and for some reason, we seem to think that that means that they're happy. But this person, we don't know. They might not have even been the narcissist's first choice to move on to. Maybe you left them very suddenly, and this is a quick pick or a scramble, as I call it. They might just be happy that for the time being, they've found someone else to put up with them. We don't know that. This doesn't mean anything has changed. In 3 to 6 months, this person will suck in the eyes of the narcissist anyway, just like everybody else does, but we don't know. This could be a last resort, and here we are seeming to think that the narcissist is happier now and has found the love of their life. And I think another reason is we also get a lot of incorrect information on social media. I can Google a picture of anyone I want, and with one nice Photoshop job, I can be on the beach with a movie star in Fiji. I can't believe I have to say this in 2022, but not everything is the way it seems on social media. A narcissist can fake a smile just like the rest of us can sometimes. All a narcissist has to do is pick up their kid for 60 minutes, take them to the park, take 12 pictures, drop them off and post them online, and boom, they're parent of the year. No, that's not how any of this works. Just because we see things or hear things on social media doesn't mean we know, honestly, jack shit, because we have no context surrounding the situation. We can all run our social media outlets any way we choose, but at this point, it's really nothing more than memes, whining, complaining, and humble bragging. So we have to let everything that we see on social media just kind of slip away. We have to let it go and take it with the biggest grain of salt that we can possibly find. If you'd like to talk one-on-one with a survivor, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to get information on private phone chats with me. Narcissists can feel fast and fleeting moments of happiness, but the point I want to stress here is, why are they feeling those very brief moments of happiness? They are not happy because they have found the new love of their life. This I can promise you. They're not happy because they're enjoying life. What I'm trying to say here is, whatever the reason is that you think is making them just burst with glee, that is not the reason why they are happy. We have to switch the way we think into more of why a narcissist would be happy. So let's talk about why a narcissist might have some brief moments of happiness. Here is more than likely what is happening if you see some joy temporarily from a narcissist. They're tricking people, getting away with it and getting an ego boost. They're lying to people, getting away with it and getting an ego boost. They've found a new victim that they can shove down your throat on social media, which I just talked about, and that gives them the ego boost. They're getting love bombed by their new supply on cloud 9, and thus an ego boost. Maybe they've won something, divorce, custody, money, or maybe they've outsmarted somebody and that superiority is just making them ride high on cloud 9. Maybe they're devaluing somebody, being a bully like they do, inflating themselves to hurt other people and getting enjoyment from it and watching others bow down to them in fear. Those are the most common times when a narcissist feels happiness or joy. When they've bested someone, outsmarted someone, gotten away with something awful, tricked somebody, blindfolded somebody who's madly in love with them, and walked their asses right off the cliff. That is when they feel happy. I know it's a really common feeling a lot of survivors have, that the narcissist is just so glad that you're gone. The new person in their life is so much better, and so on. Oh, and save your comments about how you don't care, because if you're here, then you care. So you're not better than somebody else because you don't care. So shush. Anyway, those people who lie about not caring when they really do care because they're listening to the video aside, I think a lot of people, a lot of survivors don't so much see the new person or the narcissist's life as better. I don't think we see it as better. I think we internalize it. And I think that becomes, why is this person better off without me? When you get discarded, when you get thrown away, yeah, it's true. We shouldn't take it personally because these are the narcissist's issues, but we do take it personally. And I'm just of the opinion that a lot of what we're dealing with in the aftermath of a relationship with a narcissist is we cut ourselves down. We take our own inventory and we assume that we suck. So naturally, they must be better off now. And this is something that just is not true. Because something is new does not make it better. It makes it new. However wonderful things are, we can only be new once, and that is just how things work. But the wonderful thing about that is we can only be new once, but so can everybody else. For a narcissist to be happy, they have to do what the rest of us have to do, and in the end, we all have to make our own happiness. The narcissist places that responsibility on others to create their happiness, and that doesn't work. Just like that list I said earlier. They tricked somebody. They lied to somebody. They won something from someone. It all has to do with them getting something over on someone else. That someone else has created their happiness. And someone narcissistic will never be happy when you are always relying on other people to do things for you. And when you surround yourself with drama and chaos, there is just not going to be happiness. That is not where you find happiness. That is where you find a lot of sadness, a lot of depression, and a lot of self-loathing behavior. Regardless of what you see online or whatever you think is going on or whatever the narcissist has told you, when has the narcissist ever bothered to tell you the truth? Of course, if I want to hurt you and make you feel like shit, and make you feel like you're losing out on the greatest thing in the world, of course, I'm going to tell you how happy I am. I implore you, survivor, work on things and do things that make you happy. Try not to worry about whether somebody who is perpetually unhappy, don't worry about their fake, phony, false happiness. Let this person have whatever it is over there that they think they have. You can work on yourself and you can work on bringing your own happiness into your own life and not having anyone else responsible for that. And you can always come through for yourself. Please subscribe if you haven't for more information on narcissistic abuse and support. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Once you learn about narcissism and you get the facts, things like these people need multiple sources of supply. They need dozens of people to entertain them and sitting on the shelf on standby. The idea of a narcissist getting married doesn't really make much sense. So in this video, I kind of want to run down the who, what, when, how, why, all of that. I want to get into all the nitty-gritty details of narcissists and wedding bells. So let's start with who. Who does a narcissist actually marry? We have to remember, first and foremost, there's a hierarchy, so to speak, of supply. Normally, who they marry is their primary source. Whoever they're spending the majority of their time with is the person who is taking the best care of them, period. Usually paying their bills, running their errands, cleaning up their messes of every variety, and so on. A narcissist and their primary, regardless of who it is, that relationship takes on a super creepy parent-child dynamic where the narcissist runs to the primary source of supply for everything they need. In some cases, this person's primary might actually be one or both of their parents. That's where it all starts. Normally, though, whoever they marry takes that top spot. It's nothing to be happy about, as I'm sure you know. Truthfully, we win nothing when we marry this person. But Marriage can get messy. Housing, finances, kids, and all sorts of things are kind of mingled and tied together. And that makes it incredibly difficult for two people to just decide it's over. And I'll pack my little box of stuff, you pack yours, and we'll walk away. It becomes a lot more involved in that. Marriage is a fantastic way, unfortunately, to future fake a victim while simultaneously making it harder for them to leave. The narcissist needs to make sure that they can break this person, whomever they choose. They have to be able to destroy this person's sense of self, to gaslight, to brainwash, and make this person essentially nothing more than an extension of themselves. I get asked a lot why narcissists won't marry certain people, but then they'll marry others. And truthfully, there could be a lot of different reasons why that's happening. Normally, somebody with a backbone, someone who asks questions or makes this person act like an adult and so on, isn't somebody a narcissist is trying to lock down. That might be one of the reasons why they marry one person and not the other. Most of the time, the narcissist is looking to marry somebody very weak, gullible, naive, empathic, and codependent. So let's move on to, what does a narcissist get married for? We already touched on one thing very clearly, a long-term source of supply with someone who is highly unlikely to leave the situation. But there are a lot of other things that will help seal the deal. Narcissists will, of course, marry for money, and it's a pretty common reason that they do. If someone has an inheritance, for example, or is highly successful, independently wealthy, again, in a lot of cases, this person is going to be the caretaker of the narcissist. Narcissists will marry people whom they believe to be powerful, popular, have high status, and things of that nature. They want that wealth and power too, by proxy. They want in on what this person has going for them. A narcissist doesn't just have this sense of entitlement for nothing now. If you have it, they want it. A lot of times narcissists typically don't get married, and I am of the opinion that they really don't want to unless they actually are in dire need of something. And again, most commonly money, a place to stay, a place to sleep, or even things like a green card to stay in the country and things like that. So that brings us around to when. When does a narcissist get married? This, like so many other things when it comes to narcissism, is just something really personal and different for so many people, but I will give you the best possible answer that I've come up with in my years of research. A narcissist will marry when it is the most beneficial time for them to do so, when they feel they can gain the most. What they're gaining, sometimes we're just not exactly sure. What kind of supply are they gaining? Can they make other people jealous? Can they hurt other people's feelings? There's a lot of factors that we're probably not thinking about all the time. Only the narcissist will know when it's the most beneficial time. These are, as I'm sure you know, extremely opportunistic people. Some choose to do this and others don't, and I'll go over some of that when I get into the why part of things a little bit later on here in the video. If you'd like to talk one-on-one with a survivor, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to get information on private phone chats with me if you would like to do so. Next up, how? How does a narcissist choose? How do they pick who they're going to marry? A lot of this I answered in the who section at the beginning of the video, but to dig a little deeper and shed a little light here, we're tested from day one to see what kind of source of supply will be to this person. Can we be love bombed? How generous are we? Do we ask a lot of questions? Are we nosy? Do we want to know everything? How much sympathy do we give for sob stories? How long do we take to reply back to a text or a phone call? How much will we listen to? How many of the sob stories? All of this is done through behavior that we usually don't realize is being narcissistic. And sometimes we don't even see that the red flags are toxic behavior right there in front of us. Here we are at the why. Why do narcissists get married? And from what I've explained throughout the video thus far, there's several reasons and really common ones, and they're already here. Money, power, control, a long-term source to abuse. Why or why not? Why they do or don't get married to certain people over others is, again, like I say, really tricky to answer. Some narcissists get married when they're down and out, and there are others that don't. And this is something that myself and others can deliver theories on, and everyone else here, of course, does on YouTube. Even the professionals here on YouTube talk about what they think as far as these theories. While I think we can all agree that 95% of highly narcissistic people run off of that same sorry ass playbook and can be incredibly predictable to the point of boredom, these are people who are, while predictable as we can say, some of the most contradictory people I've ever known in my life. They will pass by a millionaire when they're broke and marry somebody in a worse position than they are in themselves. And it doesn't make any sense to anybody except for this person. They'll get married and leave a few months later. They'll promise to get married and never follow through. The goal of all of my videos is always to try and give what I believe is the best and most honest answer to survivors and all the narcs who listen to my shit too, I'm sure. So here is my most honest answer. Toxic people, highly narky people, they do what they feel that they need or want to do in the moment, and they're really not thinking about the next moment. These are people who truthfully don't see any further than the end of their nose. They don't know, and in some cases don't care, what they're doing right now in this moment and how it will affect them 60 seconds from now. I don't think they either don't understand it or they don't care. But from one moment to the next, that's why so much of this doesn't make sense. They go minute by minute by minute. What makes them happy? What makes them feel powerful? What makes them feel good about themselves? They don't realize the damage they do. They don't care that their decisions are from left field. And most of the time, their behaviors look completely insane because it is so back and forth. Remember, these are people who go, hey, go fuck yourself. I'm over you. And 20 minutes later, they're blowing you up on social media or calling and telling you how sorry they are and they never meant any of it. And which side do you believe? Which side is true? We don't know. Narcissists will all do the same basic things: love bomb, devalue, discard, things like that. They'll hoover, they'll be quiet for a long time and come back, things like that. Narcissists will do the same basic things, but they'll strike when they feel there is the most benefit in it for them. And that is one of the few things that will never change. But everyone's situation is different. We all, narcs included, see things differently than other people do. And in the end, it's better if we just focus on who we are as a person, what we want, and where we are going. Try not to focus too much on who they marry, who they don't, who they're talking to, why they're running their social media this way or that way, or, why they won't call you, why they won't stop calling. It is only ever going to make sense to them. And I'm not even entirely sure it makes complete sense to them. These are people that are just ruled by fear and making, in my opinion, psychotic, fear-based decisions that make absolutely no sense. So were you marriage material to a narcissist? You can tell me all about it down in the comments. It would mean the world to me if you would share my videos, if you find them helpful. Hit the subscribe button. Both those things are totally free to do and the best way to show your support for my channel. I appreciate it all so much. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. You see them on social media. You hear it from friends or people you work with. The narcissist is with somebody new. Maybe you see this and know that they've been with this person longer than they were in a relationship with you. So the problem has to be you, right? You were the problem because look how happy the narcissist is now with this new person. In this video, I want to give you proof the new supply is not, in fact, a successful relationship for the narcissist. Number one, the immense boredom. Someone highly narcissistic has the attention span of a moth. It doesn't matter how great of a source the narcissist has, they get tired of it. It's really hard to imagine, but it's true. We're only ever brand new one time, and that one time does not last very long. There's a reason why when people talk about love bombing, they typically say you get 3 to 6 months of a good time before it all just falls apart. As soon as you're being devalued by the narcissist, they are very, very bored of you and pretty much over the relationship. You might not even notice that you're being devalued, as a lot of the time it's incredibly subtle as it starts. Boredom can be dangerous for anyone, but especially a narcissist. Number two, their long cast of extras. Since we just talked about the narcissist getting bored and how the new car smell can wear off really fast, naturally, what's going to happen when a narcissist gets really bored? Well, they're going to hoover one of their exes. Have you been hoovered by this person? They're already over their new source of supply and going behind the back of their new supply by talking to you. They might reach out, move forward, and groom other sources or begin to love bomb other people. A narcissist will always keep adding to their harem, and the harem refers to the group of people that the narcissist is abusing or has abused, the people on the back burner simply waiting their turn, and so on. There's a revolving door of supply, and it's just never, ever going to stop with a narcissist. Number 3, the social media mogul. I'm so tired of hearing about the narcissist on social media and tired of hearing about social media in general, but I have to talk about this. Don't take anything that the narcissist says or does on social media seriously. It's not hard to add a friend or show you're in a location or add a relationship status, a photo. All of us do it every single day. None of it has to be true. I can go on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere else and say, hey, I'm married to the greatest, most wonderful man in the world and tall and dark and handsome and perfect. And next summer, we're going to Greece. Okay, none of this is happening. None of that, none of it at all. But I can say it. So who cares? Who cares what they're putting out there on social media? All I have to do is stand next to a hot guy at the grocery store and take a selfie and post it. Oh, look who I'm with. Don't do that because it's really creepy and cringy, but you still can. Why do you care so much about what you see or hear on their social media? That's the most important thing here. The thing you really have to ask yourself is, why is some of this bullshit that probably isn't even true? Why do you care so much about it? Here's the situation. No matter if they're madly in love with this person or using the fuck out of them, they've moved on. When a relationship ends, both people are going to move on and find someone else to be with. What they do with their new person, honestly, I hate to break it to you, it's none of your business. It has nothing to do with you. We really have to learn to stop being so angry about what a person does with somebody else. They're not doing it with you. Here's the thing. Oh, they're going on this vacation. They're doing this. They're doing that. We never did this. Do you want all of that back? Do you really? Do you want all the bullshit that comes with the selfies and the vacays and the parties and the day in, day out with this person? Because I promise you, since you have to take the bad with the good, you really, really, really don't want all of that back anyway. If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through or what you've gone through in a really toxic relationship, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats with me. Number 4, anything but love. Narcissists don't want love. Love is scary. As I've said a million times, love requires intimacy and vulnerability on a level that a narcissist is just incapable of reaching. Do you want to know what a narcissist actually really wants? Attention, respect, fear, power, money, glory, fame, admiration, adoration, sex, control, basically anything but love. They're not interested in that idea at all. It's too permanent, it's too scary, and they don't want anything to do with it. So this relationship they're in, they're not in love with this person, and they don't care how much that person loves them. You, the new supply, anybody. We are a list of goods and services. They don't care how you feel, as long as you cough up what's rightfully theirs. Again, the respect, the fear, the money, the glory, all that. They don't care about anything else. Number 5, the super sucky hoovers. I mentioned this briefly in the video earlier that if they're hoovering you or maybe another ex or they're grooming a new source, the person they have now is already old news. And if you haven't been hoovered, you just simply haven't waited long enough. Another thing that I want to point out that I referenced earlier is the love bombing phase doesn't last forever. Think about it, the love bombing phase. That's what I want you to pay attention to. This is a phase. You know this person has high levels of narcissism. You're learning about all that right now. Maybe you've been on my channel for years and you already know all this. You know that this little love bomby, they're so in love and everything is wonderful. You know that that isn't going to last and it's going to crash and it's going to burn. You know that this doesn't last. And I'm not entirely sure why people keep convincing themselves that this new person is the absolute love of their life. More to this point, even if it is, it doesn't change anything about what happened to you. You are not the love of their life. Look at the way they treated you. Why would you want this person to be the love of your life? They did horrific things to you. And you know better than this. This is a cycle. This is a disorder. They have to do this. You used to be the best person in the world, right? And look how quickly they turned on you. Well, guess what? The narcissist found your flaws, and guess what else? We all have those flaws. The narcissist is looking for a flawless person, and you and I both know they're going to go around and around and around and never find what they're looking for, because everybody has flaws, everybody has imperfections. The narcissist is doomed to do this over and over and over again. You're just kind of watching it unfold in real time. Number 7, the constant and consistent unhappiness. You know all of this is fake. You know it's all garbage. I really have to laugh because you know what a miserable loser this person is. You already know. You know that they're mean and moody and critical and bitter as shit and resentful. They're passive aggressive and petty. You were walking around on eggshells. God forbid if you share a feeling or an emotion or a thought you got lashed out at. Maybe you were hit. Maybe you were screamed at. You've seen that they will do really unspeakable, awful things just to get a little kick out of something or a small piece of enjoyment. As unhappy as they always are, why do you think that another person will fix this for them? Why do you think something or someone else will fix their just constant state of unhappiness? Nobody else in this world, nobody, I don't care who they are, nobody else is going to make us happy. No one else is going to make the narcissist happy. We have to learn how to love ourselves, value ourselves, and make ourselves happy. That isn't the narcissist's responsibility to do that for you. It's not your job to do that for the narcissist. The new supply will not and cannot make the narcissist happy. I have to say it, and I hate when I do that super cliche bullshit here where all of this has to come from us. You know the narcissist is incapable of making themselves happy. Self-loathing people with really low self-esteem and a poor opinion of themselves, they can't do that. Self-loathing people depend on others to regulate them. It's a losing game. It's a losing game, and you know that it is. How could they possibly be happy with somebody else? They're not happy with themselves. Nobody else is ever going to be able to fill that void for them. It just looks like it from time to time. If they've been with a new person longer than you, okay, who cares? They found a bigger doormat. They found somebody more willing to put up with the abuse. They found somebody who they can brainwash into thinking they're the problem longer than they could with you. This is not a contest that you want to win. There's no award for this. Time doesn't equal happiness. Who cares what they're doing and why they're doing it? Tell me some other signs that the narcissist's new supply is doomed to failure, because you know it and I know it. I highly encourage you to click the link in the video description if you would like to become a channel member. It greatly helps support my efforts here and the work that I do. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. In this video, I want to go over how the narcissist actually changes throughout their relationship with you, and also how they do actually change for the new supply. It's a really common thing in the survivors community to say, well, the narcissist never changes. They never change. It's going to be this way forever. Well, that part is kind of true, but it's really only half of the statement. The full statement should actually be, a narcissist will never change into the person you want them to be. But why? Why, right? You're faithful, loyal, hardworking, sweet, funny, kind, beautiful, handsome. You're great. So why won't they change and just realize how damn good they've got it? I mean, even I have asked myself that question when I went through recovery. I took time to self-reflect, and sure, I totally wasn't perfect, but I was a pretty good partner, but I still got completely used, abused, and tossed aside when I put myself first. In the eyes of a narcissist, you're great until you're not. You're great, but you're just not enough. They need more time, more attention, more money, more praise, more everything that you just could not possibly provide all on your own. But the narcissist does change, don't they? As far as I'm concerned, the change we experience from love bombing into devaluing is one hell of a change. We go from golden to garbage, and seemingly overnight in a lot of cases. That person that we have in the beginning of the relationship fucking exits stage right and only briefly makes cameos from then until the end when they know they need to pull a rabbit out of the hat. There is a change in this person. They learn how much you'll put up with. They learn how much abuse you can endure and will endure. They learn how much they can lie to you. And with that, our lives go from fantasy fairy tale to nefarious nightmare. There is change from this person. It's just not for the better. But the new supply, right? This is where all that positive change comes in. And for some reason, we seem to feel like they clearly weren't changing for me, but something in our brain says they'll change for this new person, or they seem to be changing for this new person. I always wanted to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and they knew I wanted to do that thing, but they're doing it with this new person. They're not doing it with me. We were supposed to go to that concert, that wedding. We were supposed to take that trip, that vacation. It was supposed to be me. I hear this all the time. Look at all the stuff the new supply is getting that I'm not, I didn't get it. And why are they getting it? This person is changing for this new supply. Why are you so mad, survivor? I want you to sit and think about this. Why? You got love bombed too. All that shit they did for you in love bombing, somebody else was sitting around moping that that was supposed to be theirs. Why are you mad that a narcissist love bombs? That's what they do. Are we mad at a dog because they bark? That's what a dog does. Are we angry at kids for doing kid shit? No, they're children. They're lying. They're love bombing a new person. Why are you so mad that somebody shitty isn't lying to you anymore? Why are you mad that you're not going to fight for 3 hours in the car all the way to their cousin's wedding, and then they're going to get drunk and act like a dick, and you're going to go home alone and cry? Why are you mad that you and them don't get to fight for a week on your vacation in Florida or Cali, wherever you go? And then once you're home, you get a silent treatment while they go fuck around on you. Are you kidding me? Why are you angry that you're not getting what you used to have? So many people are so mad. They're so bitter. They're so angry that they're not getting shit they don't even want anyway. You feel almost entitled to being abused. Why? And if you're feeling this way, survivor, I want you to really think about that. Why are you mad that you're not getting what you don't even want anyway? If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through and what you've gone through in a toxic relationship with a narcissist, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats with me. A narcissist doesn't change for you. They change almost in spite of you. They love bomb, devalue, love bomb occasionally to hang on, devalue, and discard. This is what they do. This is what highly toxic people do. Yes, they change for the new supply. They sure do. You just seem to think the change is, for one, for the better, but two, you seem to think that brief positive change while they're love bombing and putting their best foot forward is going to last forever. So I guess maybe you just kind of forgot that you got love bombed to a certain degree. Everyone does. That new stuff that they didn't do with you, they're doing it with someone else. That shit that you seem to think you want so bad, guess what? You don't get it. You know why you don't get it? Because they're not trying to win you over anymore. They don't have to. Frankly, you're sitting around saying, why me? That's mine. Give me. They don't have to win you over anymore. You actually are sitting here heartbroken, but you still want it. They don't have to win you over anymore. Some people get stronger love bombing than others, and you do realize what's happening here. They're trying to win someone else. They're on the clock. They're grooming and wooing new supply to fall into the same trap that we all fall into. Everyone is different. Maybe the narcissist didn't feel like they needed to do certain things with you. Future faking is totally a thing. They'll promise you all kinds of shit, but never do it with you. But in the back of their brain, they're like, hey, that was actually a good idea. So when I'm love bombing someone else, that's what I'll do with them. We'll go to this place, we'll do this thing, whatever. And some people, like I say, get stronger love bombing than others. But you do realize a narcissist, they learn you, right? You know that. They learn you and they learn you fast. They learn how much you require. If you don't require something or request something from them, demand or command, however you want to say it, you don't get it. If you're with a narc for 2 years, let's say, and maybe you want to talk about getting engaged, getting married, and you tell the narcissist that, hey, I'd like to think about getting engaged. Where's this relationship going? And they give you, I'm not really ready to talk about that right now. I don't really think that's something that I really feel I can do right now. I can't have that conversation. And guess what? If that's what you hear, and you back off and you never mention it again, guess what? They're not going to mention it again. It's all about what do you demand from them. Some people demand to be shown on social media. Maybe you didn't. That's why you're not on the social media. That's why they don't have pictures of you. Some people command it and demand it, and some people don't. They only do the bare minimum they need to do to keep the source of supply based on how valuable the supply is. Frankly, survivor, sometimes you're just not very valuable supply. That does not make you a bad person. It means you're not good narcissistic supply, which you don't want to be anyway. But the narcissist will do the bare minimum they need to do. But if it's a more valuable source, that bare minimum is a little higher. But the new supply will absolutely be devalued, and I can actually prove it. Have you been hoovered? Because that's devaluing the other person. Even if you don't get a lovey-dovey hoover, have they said, hey, hi, what's up? Left my hoodie over there. Can I get that back? It's still devaluing the new person. They're still trying to carry on some kind of conversation with someone who is not their new person. Are they still floating around on dating apps? That's devaluing their new person. Are they talking to other people? Maybe not you, but they're flirting and chatting up other people. That's devaluing their new source. Is the new supply the dirty little secret? Because that's devaluing, because that only means there's a primary source that everybody sees somewhere else. Maybe that's even you. If you're the primary source and they pick up a new supply, you might already be the cause of why the other person is getting devalued. And even if you don't see those things I just listed, the new supply will be devalued if they're not already, just because you don't see it in their shitty little social media posts. Just because you don't hear it through the grapevine, it doesn't mean that it isn't happening. The tree falling still makes a sound in the forest, even if no one is there to hear it. But why do you care? How someone else gets treated by this person, you realize that's actually none of your business. Come along with me on this hypothetical, survivor, okay? Let's say they do change. They change for the better. They wake up one morning and they're exactly the partner you want them to be now. They communicate, they're a great person. They ditch the new supply, they knock on your door and they give you closure. They tell you the truth. They open up to you and beg to start all over. Clean slate, here we go. Is that all it takes, survivor? You're just like, oh, okay. I guess we can just try again. I'll forget about all the horrific shit you did to me for months and years and possibly longer. Is that all it takes? I don't know. You might actually want to think about that. The narcissist does change. Everyone does. You do. I do. We all change. They will just never change into what you want them to be. And if they did, you'd be okay with that? Ew. Why? Why would you all of a sudden take that person back? Someone who used to think that you weren't worth anything at all. Why do you feel that this person is your end all, be all? Because I guarantee When you think about your perfect person, your soulmate, whatever, I bet you don't fantasize about getting treated like shit for 3 years until they come back and all of a sudden everything is great now. Fucking what? That is no one's fantasy. Nobody ever says, oh, not to worry. She'll just be an asshole for 18 months and then we're going to Disneyland. Yeah, he'll cheat on me for 2 years before realizing I'm the one. And then we'll get married. What? This is insanity. This is absolutely crazy. Even if they changed for the better, that makes everything okay now? No. No one has ever said those things in the entire history of ever. Stop caring about the change, the negative, the positive, whatever it is. They do change. You know how they change? They get worse and worse and worse. It's staggering, and you don't want to be any part of it. And if by some, I don't know, crazy circumstance, there was a positive change, isn't the damage that has been done to you already done? Isn't that enough for you to say, you know what? I actually deserve better than this. I am going to go out and demand respect and command respect and get what I want and get what I deserve. Why would you give the person a second chance? A second chance to what? Keep treating you like shit? Isn't the damage already done? Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Once a narcissist has plucked a new source of supply, and that love bombing begins all over again, something else happens too. This new person gets a whole rundown and a whole report about you. In this video, I will be discussing